In a burning car. I'm Chris Davis. That body was discovered while firefighters were trying to put the car fire out last night, says the Kern County Sheriff's Office. That fire was at Oswell and Oregon Streets about 10:30 p.m.
and as soon
as they thought something was up, firefighters called for
I didn't send you the picture?
The body was in the car.
I got the picture.
How
I'll
that
show
person died has not been determined, and their identity has not been made.
At Marion, which is one of the most famous golf courses.
Any arrests?
Yeah,
the incident on the Kern River at Lake Isabella Saturday, the Kern County Sheriff's Office rescue team had no updates this morning on Corey
Aren't you and me,
the man who was swept away and has not been found despite an extensive 3-day search that has included choppers and drones, rafts, and boats and volunteers. His family says Vargas fell in while trying to help the family dog, Duke, who was also lost. Some recent thefts were being investigated by Kern County deputies when they ended up arresting
because Ragon is 5'11",
so that means he's what, 6'2", at a house on
and he looks tiny, but he's a big
according to a post from the sheriff's office. They announced the arrest of 47-year-old Alfredo Gonzalez, 46-year-old John Estacio, and 20-year-old Gregorio Gonzalez, all of Bakersfield, charged with commercial burglary, possession of stolen property, and criminal conspiracy to commit a crime. A K-9 officer who is not only a certified patrol dog, but who can also sniff out cocaine, meth, and heroin has been hired along with his human partner, Bakersfield Law Enforcement Ranger Matthew Pena at the Bureau of Land Management. Barry is a 1-year-old Belgian Malinois, and both just finished up 8 weeks of training in Idaho. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
To the rest, well, in a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's going to give you what you want.
Too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm going to make him an offer again with you.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing for those subscribing on YouTube. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we stream live at kernradio.com and broadcast live on YouTube. We got a busy show. I hate when I miss Mondays. It's the worst day in the week to miss because of all that's gone on in the weekend. But we got too much show today. We'll begin with the murder conviction of Carmelo Anthony. Oh, not that Carmelo Anthony, 17-year-old African-American Texas kid who at a track meet pulled out a knife and shoved it in the chest of a fellow student, Austin Metcalf. Carmelo Anthony never took the stand. And that'll be the main question we asked Teresa Goldner. How can you claim self-defense and you don't put your client on the stand to explain to the jury what he was thinking and why he brought a knife to a doggone track meet and why he stuck it in the knife of a kid and didn't hit him in the face? We'll get into that in just a second. Graham Platter is about to be a Nazi, is about to be nominated as the U.S. Senate candidate out of Maine for a Nazi for the Democratic Party. And Susan Collins is such a weak Republican that these desperate Democrats who are so ridiculously desperate to win the Senate, get rid of the filibuster, pad the court, make D.C. and Puerto Rico a state, that they're supporting a Nazi. Did I mention that he's a Nazi? Chris, did I mention this?
I think you did.
Okay, good. We'll delve into that in just a minute. I don't know what we're going to do. As you all know, apparently, because this has been going on all week. I've been gone yesterday, but we have no phones. So what I was going to say is two things can be true. We got bad news and we got good news. The bad news is we're going to have Howard Marcus for 15 minutes. The good news is we're going to have the ambassador, Jamison Greer, another part of the Trump administration. We're ticking off these cabinet positions one by one. We've got a great source within the Trump administration that's been hooking us up. We had the agriculture secretary on 2 weeks. We had Brooke Rollins. We had the labor secretary on last week, Keith Sundliner. And today we have Jameson Greer, but we have no phones. And then you say, well, Ralph, why didn't you just move Howard to 4:30? Because at 4:30, we have Chris Kelly, the head of Hard Rock Cafe. As many of you know, they are sponsoring my personal friend and a friend of the broadcast in this station, Manav Shah, the local kid who is qualified for the U.S. Open. He's on his way to Shinnecock. In fact, he's probably there now in New York to contest in the 126th U.S. Open. So do we reschedule with him or we do this phone thing? Have you tried the over the cell phone thing yet? And how does it sound?
Man, it's not like as good as it would be.
Well, you're the producer of this sideshow. Do we rebook him? I mean, he's just an ambassador. It's a big deal, but it's not a big deal. You know what I mean?
I say we
like if it were Doug Burgum, I'd be like, we're doing the phone thing.
True.
If it were, a significant member, but y'all have never heard of Jameson Greer, at least I hadn't. And he's an ambassador, and it's important to talk about trade and tariffs, although I don't know how I'm going to be friendly in this conversation because I'm not a big fan of the tariffs. But anyway, I don't know. We'll figure it out by 4 o'clock because that's our whole 4 o'clock half hour. Not that I don't have enough news to fill it. I'll tell you that because it was kind of a relief when Chris first told me this because we've got so much going on. And then we definitely got to do the phone thing with Nick Ragone just because I'm a psycho fan of his. And he played golf with Jason Kelsey yesterday.
Jason freaking Kelsey.
Yeah, he played golf with Jason Kelsey. They finished second. They were teammates in a tournament. And I said, so how did Kelsey play? Because, Ragone's a stick. Ragone said he made, it was a shamble. So they played off Nick's drive just about every hole. And I said, how'd Kelsey play? And he said, on and off, kind of like you. And I was like,
hey, that's actually not a bad thing, though. You're sizing up to an NFL football player, although it's golf.
I beat Kelsey. I beat Kelsey.
Ooh.
Oh, I beat Kelsey. You think he shoots in the 80s? Really? I don't think so.
You got more time to play.
Have you seen them play? I saw them play at Lake Tahoe. They suck. Both of them, him and Travis. I mean, they hit it far, but I beat guys that hit it far that can't keep it straight.
Speaking of both of them, did you hear that Taylor and Travis are having the wedding at Madison Square?
That's what I heard. Is that true?
That's what I'm hearing.
I find that hard to believe.
They do. They're streaming the whole thing.
That is so unlike them. I mean,
So
it's unlike her. We'll talk about that, I guess. And we'll get into Knicks Spurs. I think the Knicks are in trouble. The reality is this thing could be 3-0. That's the reality. Game 1, the Spurs were up with 2 minutes to go. Game 2, if Wemby hits that shot, it's 2-0. And they dominated them as far as I could see in the second half. I thought when the Knicks were down in the first half, I thought it was over. Then the Knicks come back. They're up 7 at the half. I thought it was over. And then when it was close, I thought for sure the Knicks were going to close it out at home. But now we got a series. And if the Knicks screw around and screw the pooch on Wednesday, I guarantee San Antonio victory. Absolutely guarantee. Because if you watch that game closely, the Knicks played like a high school team for the first 10 minutes. And I think it's all this incredible hype and this 50-something, almost a 60-year gap since the last time. I was 11 years old the last time the Knicks won a championship. And I'm an old man. So that just tells you that. We'll get into that. Nelly Korda is the greatest golfer on the planet. I don't think that's debatable. Dan Hicks, who I think is one of the most underrated golf announcers in sports, had 2 great calls. I don't know if you saw the end of the U.S. Open, but Nelly Korda had a 1-shot lead. She had a 2-putt to win, and she left it. She did a Bailey and left it about 3 feet short, and she damn near did a Bailey and 3-putted, but it caught the edge of the hole, rimmed the hole, looked like it was going to come out, and fell. And Dan Hicks' call at the time, and I'm sure he planned this at some point, he'd say this, but he said, "Whoa, Nelly." I don't know, I love that. And then he said, maybe he wrote this as well, but I just thought this was really well written. He said, she made the putt that refused to stay out of the hole. Because if you saw this thing rim the cup, it looked like it was going to come out. And she made it. She was almost embarrassed. And then she realized, oh, hell, there's one U.S. Open. Screw it. They don't ask you how. They just ask you how many. You want to know how many? You want to know how many? Because I led with she's the greatest golfer on the planet, better than Scotty Scheffler. 8 entrants. 4 of her 8, so she's 50%. Yeah, maybe you're right. Of the 4 that she's lost, and 4. She's won 4, she's lost 4. Of the 4, she's been second 3 times. She's dominated the PGA. And she's got 2 major championships. A little harder to win the Grand Slam on the women's side. There are 5 major championships on the women's side. So it is unlikely, but we'll see. And Serena Williams is going to play. She's playing this afternoon in Queensland. And we've got some audio. We'll play from that. And I've got some astrological news, right? Not astronomical.
Are we talking?
No, astronomical. I've got astronomical news, not astrological. Astrological is Leo.
Yes, exactly.
Astronomical is Venus and Jupiter being able to be seen by the naked eye tonight.
Yes.
That's my news. And on June 14th, you'll be able to see Venus, Mercury, and what did I say? Venus, Mercury, and
I think you only just
Jupiter. Jupiter, the largest planet in our solar system. The planet that keeps us alive, by the way. Can anybody answer me why? We have anything to give away?
Unfortunately, no.
No, then forget it. You can still chime in and tell me why Jupiter saves our life every single day. But we begin with Carmelo Anthony. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because I want to get to Graham Platter, and I want to get to this idiocy, this insanity that's being perpetrated on my very own radio station. And I suspected this was coming, but it's being spread out of the White House, of course, and that's, you should see the compilation that CNN has put together on how many times Donald Trump has said that something's rigged since 2016. They have a compilation where they have him saying it 9, 10 times. And let's just establish something. Let's just begin with some simple common sense, okay? Because nobody's more heartbroken than Spencer Pratt is not in this race for mayor in my city. In my city. I'm sorry. I know I've lived here longer than I've ever lived anywhere else in my life, but I still consider Los Angeles, as long as my mother's alive and living in Los Angeles, it'll always be my home. And nobody's more upset about Spencer Pratt getting shut out of this thing. But there's no fraud going on. There's no fraud going on. And please stop listening to people on this radio station that are perpetrating this lie. It's a lie. They're not telling you this because they believe it in their heart. They're lying to you. Let's just examine this logically. Let's all get on one page. At least we can agree to this. Can we not? Spencer Pratt had a 40,000 vote lead, and now it's swung. There's at least a 50 or 60,000 vote swing, right? That's a fact. That's irrefutable. We can all agree on that, right? Independents, Republicans, Democrats, black folks, white folks, Asians, Mexicans, Sikhs. We can all agree on that, right? So we can also agree that for there to be fraud and for them to put Rahman in place of Pratt, there would have to be massive voter fraud in LA County. For Joe Biden to win the 2020 election, you'd have to swing millions of votes. So there would have to be massive voter fraud. Can we all agree on that? Can we? That to switch a mayor's race in a city the size of Los Angeles, the second most populous city in the country, massive voter fraud. To swing a presidential election, massive voter fraud. We all agree on that, right? And yet there's no proof. You're telling me that the Democrats have a mechanism, a scheme, a way, a bamboozling system in which they can change elections, and yet nobody can come up with evidence. Now, there's been speculation. Here's J.D. Vance. Listen to what the vice president has to say about this, because this is part of their theory. This is the vice president of the United States.
Somehow we find ourselves in a situation where, number one, they're still receiving ballots, not just counting ballots, Jesse, they're still receiving ballots. And number two, the way that they're coming in just so happens to work out such that the Republican is getting kicked out of the final 2. So it's a Democrat versus Democrat runoff. That seems pretty shady to me.
That seems pretty shady to me. That is the vice president of the United States, whose thesis is, that seems a little shady to me. But guess what? And here's my final paragraph of my 5-paragraph essay explaining that it is insane and a lie to perpetrate that there is fraud going on. Guess who's not complaining? Guess who is the one Republican who says there is no fraud going on? Have you figured it out? Anybody? Bueller? Anybody? It's the one Republican who's winning. The one Republican that's winning says there's no fraud. Here's Steve Hilton.
We've seen nothing that would give us cause to intervene in that way. But more importantly than that, Bill Asaley, the U.S. attorney, who's actually got the full weight, we're just a campaign, he's got the full weight of the Justice Department, and he's there and he's taking a look at it. And I trust that if there is anything that needs to be investigated, that he will make sure it happens.
So the one Republican who says there's no fraud is the guy that's winning. Even though Spencer Pratt was involved in the same ridiculous system that Steve Hilton's a part of, Hilton says there's no fraud because I won. Come on, y'all. Is our system flawed? Do we have to change the way we elect our politicians in the state of California? Duh. You've heard it from me for years. We should vote on one day. It should be a holiday, or maybe even Saturday through Tuesday. I'm good for, what is that, a 4-day stint? But this weeks-long voting, this accepting things that come in before 8 o'clock and you can accept them for another week. Do you realize that votes are still coming in right now? Votes are still coming in right now. That's redonkulous, but it doesn't equate to fraud. And if you hear somebody lie to you on this station and say there's fraud, call 842-5376 and just ask that person for just scintilla of evidence. And ask that person, why isn't Steve Hilton complaining? Why isn't the president complaining about the gubernatorial race? Come on, y'all. Let's get past this. The psychos have had 6 years to prove that Biden lost falsely, that somehow they have this mechanism that they somehow didn't use in 2024. Isn't that funny? You know, you can stand up in the middle of Caesar's palace after you lose a big hand and say, I've been cheated. But when you go before the Nevada Gaming Board, guess what? They're going to ask for evidence. And the 2020 election was adjudicated 61 different times, many times before Trump-appointed attorneys. Stop listening to the lies. They're not beliefs, they're lies. They're out and out lies. And anybody that perpetrates that is a liar. Let's get going. We got to get into Graham Plattner before we bring in Teresa Goldner. At the bottom of the hour, we'll talk about Carmelo Anthony, who the judge today gave the jury an out in that Carmelo Anthony case. He added the possibility of manslaughter for the son, for the kid. And the jury was like, no. And, you know, this breaks my heart. And I know you're not going to like this, but as an African-American, it breaks my heart because you've heard two things that you've heard me criticize the Black community about. The idea that we're all in one party and we can be taken for granted by these liberal woke Democrats. And the other thing that you've heard me repeatedly say is that it hurts my heart that we as Black folks, as a race, have not embraced the magic bullet, which we all know is education. And here was a young kid down in Texas that got it. This kid graduated with a 3.7 GPA. And in one brief, horrendous moment, threw his life away. And his parents should sue his attorneys. Because again, that'll be our first question to Teresa Goldner in just a matter of minutes. How do you claim self-defense and then hide your client? Quick time out. We're just getting started on a busy Tuesday in June. Right here on the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com. It's so hot in here. I feel no AC in here.
KC Steakhouse right now, if you want to do it. But I'll check that right now.
I put it on 69.
6 to 9 a.m.
On the Wednesday.
You feel anything?
Oh, I know you did because I could feel it.
You can feel it?
Oh, yeah. It's pumping.
Well, then it must
When
be,
it's in
must be my
studio, I
thing,
hope,
then.
to administer the California News Quiz, and we will
I don't
have
feel
the very
anything.
latest and state-of-the-art news, traffic,
Yeah.
and weather. It's
I might
all
pull down the
happening
drapes.
6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Had a ball this weekend, was at casino night where I saw the Wilson's kids. It was great to see them. I was hanging out with Aaron Branch, a local badass Marine who's a local nurse. And where did we end up? Of course, we ended up at KC Steakhouse. Where would you rather be than on F Street, hanging out with Cassie Biddle and her incredible staff, and just had some appetizers late, just hanging out. The girls were there for us. Where would you rather be? And with this heat wave that's approaching, might be a great way to get out of the house this weekend is to head down F Street. Don't have the wife over those pots and pans. Don't have the husband outside trying to barbecue in this kind of weather. Just go down to the beautiful, beautiful Casey Steakhouse with the incredible air conditioning, or go next door to the Stockyard where Haley will be pouring craft cocktails and lovely Lottie will be performing live music Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. And of course, Jimmy and Bobby are always performing lively in the restaurant Tuesday through Saturday. Where would you rather be than on F Street in the capable hands of Cassie Biddle's incredible staff? KC Steakhouse, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
I'm John Busby with Team Busby Real Estate.
And I'm Jonathan Busby with Team Busby Real Estate.
We just wanted to talk with you about what we do as a team. We do a great job for our clients. Some of the things that we do is when we represent sellers, we don't just put the transaction together. We do our homework and we check the FICO score, source of funds, where the money's coming from, and the job stability. Because what we don't want is to get you into an escrow and the escrow falls out because we didn't do our homework.
With any sort of real estate need that you have, we can accommodate, whether it's residential, commercial, land, or multi-units. We have experience in all and can help you to a successful close.
The background that we have is I was a lender for 5 years. And so I learned quite a bit as far as how to keep a transaction together. We don't just put it together and hope that it closes escrow. Nothing's 100%, but we do stack it in your favor.
With any needs or questions with real estate, give us a call at 661-410-7355 or visit our website at www.teambusby.com.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly.
Open that?
Well, now there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free, and you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Oh, baby, to what I say. And if you do this,
it'll help you some sunny day. Ah, yes. You know, the racial divide in this Carmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf case goes beyond just the locals. I heard this woman, I've never heard of her, Ariva Martin. She's an attorney, and they had her on CNN, and she said she was shocked at the verdict. Like, what? Dude completely instigated this. And you guys know that if this kid had a scintilla of innocence as a black guy, as you guys accuse me of always siding with on the racial side of things, I would defend him. Well, there's no defense for this. You're a high school kid and you bring a knife to a track meet, and then you go into a rival's tent, you're told to leave, the kid shoves you, and instead of getting to an old-fashioned fight like we used to get into, you dig into a bag, you pull out a knife, and you shove it in his chest. No, son, you got to go away. You got to go away for a long time. Meantime, as I said, the Democratic Party have embraced a Nazi, Graham Plattner, who who claims that he got, as a young Marine, a symbol of Nazism on his chest, but didn't know what it was. That's the story that Maine voters are accepting. And that's the vote. That's the word. And again, I haven't even talked about the sexual stuff, because you know what? You got to throw the sexual stuff out. The character barrier on sexual stuff ended ended with Bill Clinton. Don't blame Donald Trump for that. Bill Clinton had a woman oral copulate him in the Oval Office. I don't mean to be inappropriate, but it makes a point just to put in some respect of what we're talking about here. A president of the United States had oral sex in the Oval Office with a White House intern. So the sexual question on whether character matters has long been taken over. We've thrown that out the window. So you can't call anybody for cheating on their wife. I can't even call out Ken Paxton, because that's not my problem with Ken Paxton down in Texas. Ken Paxton's a criminal. He's a fraudulent briber. That's my issue with him. But the sex thing, you got to throw that out. So that's between him and his wife. The problem that I have with the guy is he's a Nazi. And I thought that automatically disqualifies you. But I guess when the Democratic Party is so incredibly desperate to win the Senate, get rid of the filibuster, and change the court, that they're willing to get in bed with just about anybody. That's where we are, folks, where Nazis can get elected to the United States Senate. It's a Tuesday. Teresa Goldner joins us next.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington.
Hey.
The U.S. military has begun strikes against Iran following the crash of a U.S. Army Apache helicopter off the coast of Oman. President Trump blamed Iran for the incident, calling it unjustified aggression. The crash reportedly involved a collision with an Iranian drone, though it's unclear if it was intentional. The U.S. Central Command describes the strikes as a proportional response. House Republicans have passed a nearly $70 billion bill to fund immigration enforcement agencies for the next 3 years and the rest of President Donald Trump's term in office. The bill now goes to Trump to be signed into law. On Wall Street, the Dow by 86 points, but the NASDAQ dropped 250, the S&P 500 lower by 19. More details at srnnews.com.
Lanny went to college. Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. A body found in a burning car has not yet been ID'd publicly, says the Kern County Sheriff's Office. That person was found in the car while firefighters were fighting the car fire about 10:20 last night at Oswell and Oregon Streets. No arrests have been announced and no cause and manner of death have been determined yet. Corey Vargas is still missing. He's the man who slipped, fell in, and was swept away in the Kern River Saturday near Lake Isabella, his family says, while trying to rescue the family dog, Duke, who also had fallen in. Highway 58 will be closed for some paving work tomorrow from 6:30 to 3:30 from Stoner Drive to Highway 43. You are advised to use Taft Highway for an alternate route. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS action.
Hey.
The best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Listen to that. That's the sound of your day.
We didn't have a prosecutor, it's not a U.S. attorney, assigned here when I was a magistrate judge.
Yeah.
So I used to do all those by cell phone sometimes, and just hold the cell phone up to the microphone. And it worked. As long as everybody could hear. But it didn't have to sound good, they just had to be able to hear it.
Yeah.
Yours has to sound good though, I guess.
Yeah. You would like that.
Have you ever heard of something called the Nick Shirley Act?
Yes.
I actually watched the YouTube last time, and one of your listeners.
What happened to your eye?
No, I woke up this morning and it was like that. Wasn't it?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I hope it was
Have you
scary.
seen an optometrist or an
It
ophthalmologist?
just happened. I think it just happened this morning. I'll find out.
Where are we starting?
We can start with Carmelo.
Carmelo? Okay, that's the newest thing. It's a Tuesday, and of course that means those that are viewing on YouTube can see visibly that the judge is here, Teresa Goldner. Sty in her eye and all.
Oh, I have a yellow. I don't know. I woke up this morning, my eye was yellow.
I think that's a
Am I
sty.
scaring you? No, it's not.
You have a little red dot. I think that's a sty. Okay, Terry. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah.
Hey, you told me about your bump. I get to style.
I didn't
It's the
show
same
you my
thing.
wound. I didn't here, let me take the Band-Aid off and show you my open wound.
Well, I could close my eye. I
that's
could do it
okay.
like this. I could go
You could
like
have worn
this.
sunglasses for us, Terry. I'm kidding. Carmelo Anthony. No, not that Carmelo Anthony.
Is there another one?
Yes, there's a very famous basketball player named Carmelo
I
Anthony.
didn't know that.
Yes.
I wondered why it sounded familiar.
He is
when
a
you
Hall of
said it.
Famer. Played for the Denver Nuggets.
Is he
Went to
what?
Syracuse. Yes. He is on the NBC broadcasts.
No kidding.
Yes.
I've been to Syracuse. Syracuse is a fun college.
I've been to Syracuse and didn't get accepted.
Do you know what their, I guess you'd call it a mascot? You know what they're called?
Yes, they are the
You're not even going to believe it.
I couldn't.
The Orangemen. The Orangemen.
They're called orange.
The Orangemen.
It's just orange. Now it's just orange.
He used to be the Orangemen. And they had
Where
like
does
this
that come
orange
from?
figure. I have no idea.
Now it's just an orange.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a fruit.
But this Carmelo Anthony with a K, the basketball player spells it with a C. This Carmelo Anthony did not take the stand in a self-defense case.
Interesting.
Shouldn't his parents sue his attorneys for malpractice? I've never heard of that. If you're going to claim that I didn't mean to do this, that I had to do this, I was fearful for my life, don't you have to explain that to the jury? And it would have helped his case. He would have started crying. It would have been emotional. He would have said, I didn't, because he's heard saying, there are a couple of facts we know. This kid is so freaking stupid, despite his 3.7, that when they had him in handcuffs, he said, yeah, I did it. Oh, he's not going to die. I just hit him in the chest. He's not going to die. So I don't think there was any intent, but I completely agree with the jury who was given an opportunity today to plead him out at manslaughter, but they came back with murder. And I'm sorry, I agree 100%. Why are you bringing a knife to a track meet? Why aren't you fighting like 17-year-olds do, but you're rummaging through your bag and grabbing a knife and shoving it in a kid's heart because you got shoved? That's not a self-defense.
So my understanding of the facts of the case, correct me if I'm wrong about this, is that he's 17, like you said. He went to
At the time.
Centennial High School, and this other guy went to a different high school, and they were at a track meet in Frisco, Texas.
Yes.
You know where Frisco
Mhm.
is?
I do.
Where is Frisco?
It's between, I think it's between Dallas and Austin.
Oh, okay.
Between the two.
I thought it sounded familiar.
I think, yeah. Is that right? Do I have that right? I don't really know Texas that well. I'm not talking to you, Rusty. I'm talking to the audience.
So there was a rain delay, and I guess he went and he sat, and Carmelo went and sat in the tent of the other guys.
Yes.
School. And so the other guy had a twin. And the other guy's twin told him, get out of the tent. And he didn't want to get out of the tent because there was a rain delay. And so the next thing was apparently Metcalf is the one, the victim is the one that grabbed him first. And Anthony warned him not to touch him and reportedly not to punch him. And then he pulled a knife.
And but Metcalf pushed him.
Right.
He said, push me and see what happens.
But he told him, don't touch me.
Right.
And he pushed him.
And then he said, and then Anthony says, push me and see what happens. And he did. And then he shoved the knife in the kid's heart.
Right. Pulled the knife from his back and then stabbed him in the chest. And then afterwards, he admitted to the stabbing, but he claimed self-defense. That's my understanding of the facts.
That's pretty much it.
But my understanding of the law is that in Texas, Texas law allows carrying a knife with a blade under 5.5
Hang on.
inches.
There's something wrong with, where's Chris? Did I lose my producer? There's something wrong with her mic on, oh, I see what's wrong. Hang on a second.
Am I not plugged in?
You're on the wrong plug.
Oh.
There we go.
Is that better?
That should be better. Now she's on this mic. Not according to Lisa, our associate producer.
Well, I hope we're good now. Lisa, are we okay?
Well, she claims that she
I'll
couldn't
presume-
hear.
I'll presume that we're good. So my understanding is that under Texas law, it is legal to bring a knife under 5.5 inches to a school event. So he wasn't violating any law when he brought the knife to the event. So
But he
that's
is
the first
breaking,
part.
but he is breaking common sense.
He was breaking common sense. And then Texas has its own self-defense jury instructions and its own self-defense laws. And he was claiming self-defense. And under Texas law, a person is justified in using force, and I'm quoting from the statute there, but not deadly force against another when and to the degree they reasonably believe the force is immediately necessary to protect against the other's use or attempted use of unlawful force. But verbal provocation alone is not enough. But here we have a little bit more than verbal provocation. But here, deadly force in self-defense is justified under the statute if that person reasonably believed that deadly force was immediately necessary to protect against the other's use or attempted use of unlawful deadly force or to protect against other felonies.
But how can a jury figure out what the kid was thinking if he doesn't take the stand?
Well, the problem is that the statute actually says it's reasonably believes. And how do you know to go to your question, how do you know what somebody reasonably believes inside their head? Reasonably is determined objectively, and it's usually determined by the facts. So the jury could conclude, even without him testifying, that there was no reasonable belief based on all the facts. But Texas allows it to be defined both objectively and subjectively. And it's considered a belief that would be held by an ordinary, prudent person in the same circumstances, considering the actor's knowledge and perspective. And there's no duty to retreat under Texas law either. So the law is a little bit different than in California. They have their standard, it's called the Stand Your Ground, No Duty to Retreat Act in Texas. And so that's the kind of thing that the jury was instructed on. But it sounds like, based on the facts that I read, that the jury only deliberated about
3 hours. 3 hours. And when the word came in that they had made up their sentence, the CNN reporter said that his mother put her hands in her face and started crying, which means she knew exactly what that meant. That if it takes 180 minutes to come in with a verdict, she knew her boy was going to jail.
Well,
and it breaks my heart because this kid, like I said at the top of the show, he's one of the few, as I complain about, young African Americans that grasp the idea that education was his magic bullet to give him opportunity in life. He was a 3.7 GPA kid, which means there's just about any college in Texas you could go to. He could have gone to the University of Austin, Texas at Austin. He could have gone anywhere in the state of Texas, Baylor with a 3.7, and now his life's ruined. His life's ruined. He's ruined 2 families' lives.
This one momentary decision that he made in the
It's crazy.
Whatever it was that he reacted to after he got pushed.
And
a flash of anger.
And just stupidity, because even after he was cuffed, he said, oh, he's not going to die, meaning that he had no concept of how serious a thing that he had just done. Son, you just put a knife in somebody's chest. If it had not even been in his heart, he probably would have bled to death. But at 17, I suppose, I think I had enough intelligence at 17 to know you can't stick a person in the upper torso and expect them to live.
Let me ask you this: would you have brought a knife to a track meet?
I wouldn't take a knife out of the house.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't, but under Texas law,
I won't get, despite the suggestions and pushing by most of my good friends and the sheriff of this county, I won't get a CCW.
Really?
For fear that, what if I'm out walking one day and somebody pushes me around and I get so angry that I shoot? Of course I know how to shoot a gun.
Do you have a gun?
Yes, I have a gun. I have a Glock 23. My Michael Jordan. That's right.
Is that what it's called?
Yes, that's what I call it.
Is that your name for it?
That's my name for it, Michael
Do you
Jordan.
go practice shooting?
Not enough, but yes, of course.
You know what? I would like to get a gun and get a CCW. I would.
I don't want to be in that situation where I have to pull a gun. And Donnie Youngblood's like, you might be in a situation where you need to pull a gun and you'd want to have a CCW, but I wouldn't want to be in that position.
Well, here, this jury, I think the key jury questions probably centered on whether or not Anthony reasonably believed that deadly force was reasonably necessary, immediately necessary, because you have to look at proportionality. It's kind of hard under this fact pattern to think that it was necessary to use deadly force.
Well, let's deal with the fact.
Didn't think about it.
Let's deal with the fact that he didn't testify.
Okay.
How is that possible?
Because the jury can look at objectively, it's not necessary for him to testify, but the jury can also look at it from a subjective standpoint. Subjective meaning it's inside of Anthony's head.
Yeah, but Terry.
They took that away
Terry,
from the jury. They didn't get the jury hear what he was actually thinking.
You're a smart attorney.
I like to think so.
Going into this case, you have to know, as a smart attorney, we're in trouble. If you're the defense.
Okay.
If you're a smart attorney, you have to know. The only bar I've ever passed is Casey's Steakhouse and Luigi's. But nevertheless, I knew this kid's in trouble.
Well, let me ask you this.
Big trouble.
If you were in his shoes, would you have testified?
Oh, you damn right.
And what would you have said?
I would have. Look, I acted impulsively, but you don't understand the fear I've had. I was in a fight when I was 14 and I got the crap beat out of me by 3 white guys. And these 2 brothers came at me. They're bigger than I was. I didn't know that they weren't going to kill me. I thought they were going to beat the crap out of me. I thought I was going to be mobbed by this entire team. And I panicked and I did the only thing that I thought I could do. And maybe it was wrong, but this is what I thought I could do to save my life. And I picked up this gun, this knife, and I just shoved it into his chest. I wasn't trying to kill him. I didn't come to the track meet today thinking I'm going to kill a white guy. I was fearful for my life. I didn't know what I was doing. Please don't send me to jail. Please. I'm too young to die. I'm too pretty to be in jail. I'll be Bubba's girlfriend in a week. Please don't do this to me. I don't know. I'd have thrown up a Hail Mary. I would have put on the performance of my life. Terry.
Maybe there were other things out there that we don't know about and that informed his attorney's opinion, or maybe he advised him to testify and he just didn't want to.
I think it's malpractice.
Those are things that we just don't know.
I think it's absolute malpractice.
Well, he's going to get the next step. Of course, he's going to get sentenced.
No, that's going on as we speak, and it's already almost 7 o'clock, and we don't have access to computers. But
I looked up the sentence.
It was going on today.
5 to 99 years or life in prison.
And
he's not going to get life in prison.
In Texas, and I don't understand this either, but the suspect gets to choose whether it's the jury or the judge, which I don't understand. Because why would you want to judge when you can get simpletons off the road who you can possibly, convince? Because his mother got to testify and she said to the jury, please have mercy on my son. A judge is going to ignore that. You're a judge. Would that have any impact on you? But that might have impact on me as a juror. Yeah, that might have impact on me. But as a legal scholar like you, a judge, no chance. But on the plumber and the radio talk show host and the teacher and blah 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 blah, they might be impacted by that. I don't understand.
What do you think his sentence should be? Either 5 to 99 years or life in prison.
Well, you're right. He's not going to get life. He doesn't deserve life. I thought it should have been manslaughter. But
10 years? Something like that?
A little bit longer. A little bit longer.
Destroy his life?
A little bit longer. I might go for like 15 years. Yeah, he's got to do some long time.
What if things I wanted to ask you about was in reading about this case today, this afternoon, seems like social media and it seems like the regular media really imposed this racial component to this because there were no blacks on the jury. What do you think about that?
I don't think that's an issue. I don't think race was an issue. I think the reason that I delved into that because that perked my ears up certainly. They were teachers, and they didn't want teachers on the jury because they thought that they would be more empathetic to a teenage student. That's why they got him up. Race has got nothing to do with this. It has absolutely nothing.
I'm glad to hear you say that because according to.
Well, I'm shocked that you're shocked that I'm saying that.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad.
Do you think that I'm biased by my race?
No.
You don't think I call things objectively?
I think you do call things objectively.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Then why are you surprised that I don't think race has anything to do with this?
Oh. I can say I'm surprised.
Yeah, no, this ain't got nothing to do with
Well,
race.
it's interesting because it seems like so much was made of the race issue on social media, but
Well, whenever a victim is black and a suspect is white or vice versa, it's a race issue. Doesn't matter where it is, doesn't matter what the crime is. We're always going to make race the issue. Always.
But both families in this case told the media and were saying to everybody, race is not an issue on these facts. Both
And it's
sides
not.
felt that way.
It's not. It's a pretty simple case, in my opinion. Yeah. It is a pretty doggone simple case. It's a tragic case.
It's so sad.
But
I think it's a real tragedy.
It is. It truly is. But it is what it is.
Just one of those one bad decision in one moment.
And it can ruin your life.
I know. That's a tough one.
And if I heard anything in my house that I wish I could have $1 for every time I heard it, it was, Ralph, your decisions have consequences. And decisions are the biggest things that you'll do in your life. The decisions that you make throughout your life all have consequences.
Well, maybe by the end of the show today, we'll know what his sentence is.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about it. I think we know now, but we just don't have access to our computers because our engineers in there.
I can look it up on myself.
Yeah. I'm going to do that during the break because I think they've come up with a sentence. I think they'll give him 10 to 15 years.
I'm going to say 10.
So now he's 28.
Yeah.
Can he? No, we're looking for the sentencing. Yeah, but they were meeting for the sentencing today, the jury, because they do it in Texas. They do it immediately after the verdict. And so what time is it in Texas? It's 5:50 in Dallas right now. So they could still be, I guess, till 6 o'clock maybe, trying to figure out how to sentence this kid. What would you're the judge. Why are you asking me? What would you give him?
I would probably give him about 10 years.
27 years old,
10 years.
with a bright education and obviously a smart kid. Can he rebuild his life?
He'll have an opportunity to have his life back.
You know, I bet he could.
I think he will.
I bet he could. He'll come out a celebrity.
You think so?
Yes.
Why would he be a celebrity?
Because because we're in Bakersfield and we're talking about this kid.
Well, it's because it's such a tragic case, I think.
Well, celebrity doesn't mean good or bad. You can be infamous and still be a celebrity. Graham Plattner's a celebrity, and he's a damn Nazi. You know what I'm saying?
He's definitely. You don't buy his tattoo story, do you?
That a grown man went to Croatia. That a grown man went to Croatia.
Wasn't he like in
had
or something? And he was off with his bros going and getting tattoos.
And you think that a grown ass man would have something put on his body that he doesn't understand what it is?
You know.
How did his girlfriend know a year ago?
I don't understand the mind of a man, so you don't have to tell me about that.
Well, I can tell you, no man puts something on his body that he doesn't know what it is. And how did his girlfriend know what it was a year ago? And she
Googled it.
She Googled what? How do you Google that?
Took a picture of it. You can send it into what is it, Google Chat or whatever.
So you're defending this character?
No, I'm not defending him at all. But I'm
Nazi.
not really exactly a Susan Collins fan either, though.
So you're telling me he had it on his? Oh, she's horrible.
I know.
She's horrible. He's going to win.
The only thing I like.
He's
about
going
her,
to win.
You think so?
Oh yes.
Well, the one good thing she did, in my opinion, she voted in favor of Brett Kavanaugh to get him on the Supreme Court. Remember all that stuff with Brett Kavanaugh?
Yes.
She was the vote.
The Democrats are walking away from now.
Yes.
Because back then they said, believe all women.
That's right.
Believe all women. And now 3 women have come to the New York Times and said this guy is a POS. And Democrats are like, well, one of them is a Republican operative. And that whole believe all women has gone right out the window.
How can Chuck Schumer,
a Jew,
that's the part
a Jew,
that's the part
support a Nazi?
How can they? I mean,
The Supreme Court.
That's bad.
It's all about the Supreme Court. I've been telling you this for months, have I not? They want the Senate. Yes, yes. Character no longer matters in politics. Yes, it's a horrible day in America. That character no longer matters because the sexual character went out the window, as I said at the top of the show with Bill Clinton. When the President of the United States can have sex in the Oval Office with a White House intern and not get impeached and get censored and get reelected, then that is now out the window.
You know,
the barometer now has been put on the floor.
can I confess something?
No,
I used to
Barry could be listening now.
That's okay.
Don't ruin your marriage on my radio show.
I used to be a Democrat.
I used to be a Democrat as well.
Until Monica Lewinsky. When the way the Democrats handled the Monica Lewinsky thing, I just couldn't be part of that party anymore.
That's right around when I left. I left around 99, 2000, right, when he got out of office.
I was a big fan of the National Organization of Women back then. Remember that?
Now, I do remember.
And no longer. And not after that. They went radio silent when Monica Lewinsky was doing her thing with Bill Clinton.
And they allowed Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton to ruin that poor girl's life.
They did.
She was
They really
21
did.
years old.
They sacrificed her.
And she fell in love with the leader of the free world. And he treated her the way the Kennedys treated Marilyn Monroe. And she was 21 years old. At least Marilyn Monroe was a grown-ass woman who slept with everybody, and she was a grown-ass woman who was responsible for her own actions. This is an impressionable college student that you took advantage of. And then they ruined her life. To this day, she still gets cat calls and, hey, Monica, can I have a BJ? And blah, 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 blah. And
What is she doing now? She wrote a book.
she's a writer, and she's got a foundation, and she's done, I think, incredibly well.
I thought so.
I mean, I don't know if you could say that. I think if you talk to her therapist, she'd probably say she's pretty screwed up, but I bet she is. But you're right. For what she's gone through and to be the center of attention of a nation at that age, in your early 20s.
Boy, I just tell you, when that happened, I was so disappointed. I mean, just all the way around. And I just thought, that's crazy. How could the Democratic Party ignore that? And it's all for the principle of the thing, I guess. I don't know. Democratic principles, whatever that means.
I have lived through infamy. I have lived with it. And it is horrendous, where you feel like everywhere you go, everyone is looking at you and going, ugh, that's Ralph Bailey. You know the guy. Yes. My DUI was on the front page of the newspaper. It was on the internet before I got out of jail. I didn't get an opportunity to tell my mother because it was on the internet. And at the time, my father's best friend, Wilbur Sewsbury, was alive and living in this community. It got to him, so he called my mother. And by the time I got out of jail at noon the next day and called my mother, she was already in tears. I didn't get, and so, yeah, I lived with infamy for years.
So did your
And my
family-
opponents and people that hated me, of course, used that for years. It's been 20 years, so it's a weak case now. But I dealt with it for about 5 to 10 years.
Did your family stand behind you through the whole thing? Were they supportive?
Well, I mean, I didn't go to prison, Terry.
No, but I mean, that's a big deal. You need encouragement and support, and to
No.
know that your family still loves you and they're not embarrassed of you and all of that kind of thing.
No.
That must have been really important.
No, it's not. Come on, Terry. It wasn't that.
You didn't have
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that big a deal. It was just,
Well, it was
I'm
great
known.
to
If I were a plumber, it wouldn't have been a big deal because nobody would be talking about me.
Yeah,
But
you
because
said-
I was a very visible human being,
You said it affected you. For 5
well, it
years.
did. You felt like everywhere I went, people were, in fact, I got into a row with a guy a couple of months ago.
Really?
Yeah.
What? I mean, why do you care at this point?
He picked on me. He was drunk and started yammering at me. And I just left the restaurant.
Nobody's perfect. I don't know a single person alive that's perfect.
Yeah.
Except for Barry Goldner.
Except for Barry Goldner. Except for Barry Goldner. What else is going on? I see you got a ton of notes. We got a couple of minutes.
I took a whole bunch of notes. Last time I listened to the YouTube. I watched the YouTube, and there was some comments by one of your watchers, one of your listeners.
Yeah.
And he asked, I wonder if Ralph is going to ask Teresa about the Nick Shirley Act. And so I thought, what is the Nick Shirley Act? So I looked it up.
Hey, Terry.
Yes.
What about the Nick Shirley Act?
The Nick Shirley Act is actually a nickname for that the Republicans and conservatives who don't like it gave to AB 2624. And And Nick Shirley happens to be a YouTuber.
Great guy.
He's
and a great
have you
young
heard of
journalist.
him?
Oh, I've seen his
He's the
videos.
guy that did the.
He went to Minnesota.
investigative-
He's gone to LA. He's gone all over the place.
Right. So because of him, the Democrats in California proposed something called the quote Privacy for Immigration Support Services Providers. It's AB 2624. And basically what it does is it extends something called the Safe at Home Act, which makes anybody here, it applies to anybody that works in any way to support immigration services for immigrants, of course, they're illegal or otherwise, that you can't take pictures of them, you can't post their addresses, you can't disclose their addresses. They treat them the same way as victims of domestic violence.
Yeah, because Nick was
total confidentiality.
he was exposing things. He was exposing things.
He was exposing fraud.
He was going all over Minnesota, and he went to several like preschools that weren't preschools. He was doing it live with video, and he had a microphone, and he would catch these people, and they didn't know what to say. It was humiliating. So they had to combat this guy.
So
I got 30 seconds.
So now they have a law, and the law got passed. It went basically on a party line vote, and it's in the Senate right now, and it might even get passed.
I've got just a short time. What's your thought on fraud?
On fraud?
Yes. Was this a fraudulent election, as some people on this radio station and the president say?
I don't know all the facts, so I'm not going to comment on it.
Do you think there's a possibility of fraud in the state of California?
Here's my question. Do I think it's possible that there's fraud?
I mean, like legitimately possible.
Like
I don't mean like,
widespread or just a little
yes,
bit?
widespread to change a mayoral election or change a presidential election.
I'm going to wait until the Ninth Circuit and then the Supreme Court rules on the case that's.
We
being
gotta
taken
go.
out
We
about
gotta
voter
go.
rolls.
We gotta
And then
go.
I'll let you know.
She doesn't know what she's talking about. There's no such thing as fraud. It's ridiculous. It's a lie. Quick time out. We headed to the floor. Don't go anywhere. You are
The
nuts.
case is in the Ninth Circuit. You know what that case is about, right?
What?
The U.S. Attorney.
What case?
For the
We talking
Central
about?
District. I can't think of the name of it, but it's on appeal right now. It's the United States DOJ asked to audit the voter rolls in California. And Shirley Weber, the Secretary of State, said, we're not going to give you all the information that you want. We're in fact, we're only going to give you a little bit. And so they said, BS. They go to court, they litigate over it. The trial court says, we think that the reason you want to know about California voter rolls is because you want to find out about illegal aliens so you can enforce immigration policy. And that's not good enough. You can't get it. So now it's on appeal. I'm going to wait till that case is over, and then I'll tell you the answer.
Okay. Okay. I got to deal with this phone situation. So we up? No phones.
That's what I'm saying. I have no idea. I'm trying to figure out this fucking mic situation. She sounds fine.
Your phones.
Lisa said it's still not working.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
Are the listeners saying it's not working?
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because everybody keeps saying, "Oh, it's not working," and I'm getting blamed for it.
What is this? Oh, is that what that is?
Does anyone have a dog in there?
Yes. JR's dog was in here.
Aw.
Give me 1 second.
Is JR still around?
I believe it's in the office.
I'll go get him his dog chew. How's that?
Thank you.
It's kind of a discombobulated day, isn't it?
It really is. Because I've got the ambassador of the Trump administration. Ambassador to Trade, Seamus Greer.
That's exciting.
But we may not be able to get him.
Try the cell phone thing. That actually works better than I used to do it all the time.
All right. Well, I'll give it a shot. Thank you.
See you later.
You'll see the big old
Hey.
thing on the wall. But he's right there. I think he's there.
Hey, did I give you the emergency number
For who?
for the ambassador?
No. You didn't text me any of the numbers.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
When I was feeling the stress of too much credit card debt, I looked at two different options: debt settlement and debt management. They may sound the same, but guess what? They're not. Debt settlement seemed like a quick fix, but I found out it would destroy my credit, create tax headaches, and hit me with huge fees. They actually told me to stop paying my bills. No way, not me. Then I turned to a debt management plan developed by the team at Trinity. They worked with my creditors, lowered my payments, reduced my interest, saved me thousands, and paid off my debt. And Trinity is a Christian company, which is important to me.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-990-6976.
AI drags the markets.
From the KERN newsroom, your live and local news.
A body found in a burning car. I'm Chris Davis. That body was discovered while firefighters were trying to put the car fire out last night, says the Kern County Sheriff's Office.
What's the
That fire
ambassador's
was at
first name?
Oswell and Oregon Streets about 10:30 p.m. and as soon as they thought something was up, firefighters called for deputies who confirmed the body was in the car. So far, how that person died has not been determined, and their identity has not been made public. Investigators have not announced any arrests. In the incident on the Kern River at Lake Isabella Saturday, the Kern County Sheriff's Office rescue team had
I
no
guess we should do it with
updates
Howard
this
just to
morning
see
on
if we can
Corey
do it with the
Vargas,
ambassador.
the man
See
who
how
was
it
swept away and has not
Or
been
should we
found
just punt with
despite
the
an
guy?
extensive
Just do it
three-day
on a day
search
when we can
that
hear
has
it.
included choppers and drones, rafts and boats, and volunteers. His family says Vargas fell in while
I don't
trying to
either.
help the family dog, Duke, who was also lost.
I know.
Some recent thefts were being investigated by Kern County deputies when they ended up arresting 3 people and finding thousands of dollars worth of stolen things at a house on Smith Street in Bakersfield, according to a post from the sheriff's office. They announced the arrest of 47-year-old Alfredo Gonzalez, 46-year-old John Estachio, and 20-year-old Gregorio Gonzalez, all of Bakersfield, charged with commercial burglary, possession of stolen property, and criminal conspiracy to commit a crime. A K-9 officer who is not only a certified patrol dog, but who can also sniff out cocaine, meth, and heroin has been hired along with his partner. Bakersfield law
I don't want to put any
Ranger
pressure on
Matthew
you, but
Pena
I'm going
at the
to blow
Bureau
off
of
this
Land
ambassador.
Management. Barry
Can
is
I
a
tell him we
one-year-old
can do it
Belgian
tomorrow?
Malinois, and both
With
just
some kind of
finished up
certainty?
8 weeks of training in Idaho. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1
That's all right.
and
Not
AM
your fault.
1230 KERN.
To the rest, well, in a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want.
Dude, we have no phones.
Start shooting in a week.
I've got the
I'm gonna make him an offer again.
trade.
Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight
Yeah.
that we
All right.
as a people will get
All right.
to the
Hey,
promised
Siri.
land.
Call Howard Marcus.
To 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast. You guys are going to have to hang on for me. Oh, I don't have Howard's number. I just said call Howard and it went to a dead line. We were expecting to talk with the ambassador of trade, Jameson Greer, in about 10 minutes. But I'm going to make a tough decision. I think we're going to punt. I don't know. Let's bring your cell phone in here after you get Howard, and let's see how it sounds with Howard. We have no phones is our issue. Has nothing to do with our IT, so that has nothing to do with that. Let's make that clear. But I don't want to talk to a member of the damn Trump administration over a cell phone through a microphone. It just makes us look like amateurs. And I would rather do this. You know what? I'm just going to text her right now and just say, I'm so sorry, but we're going to have to punt on this thing. Hang on. Who is this? Oh, that's me. That's Verdicts. That's his number. Okay. Hang on. Let's at least see.
One step at a time here.
Yeah, let's see how it sounds. Kernville. What's going up on it? Huh? All right, let's see. Let's see how it sounds. Turn that up.
By the way, on the
Oh, that doesn't sound too bad, actually.
I told you it's not terrible, but
Sweet, say something, Howard.
Hey, can you hear me?
But turn your radio down. You got your radio on in the room. You can hear my goofy ass in the background.
Yeah,
On
the YouTube, it's real hard to hear Teresa.
That's what we're being told, and we couldn't figure out
I
why.
fixed it. It's the headphones.
Oh, it was the headphones.
It was the headphone issue.
It was the headphones. Oh, that sucks. Anyway, well, that's okay then. I guess we'll go ahead with it. But unfortunately, Howard, we only have like 8 minutes with you because the only time we could get the ambassador on was at 4:15. So,
okay.
But what did I have written down here? What's going on up there in Keene?
What's going in Keene? I live in Wofford Heights. What's going on in Keene?
Oh, I thought you lived near Keene. I forgot.
No, I did. I moved 3 years ago.
They've got a pedophile.
I'm in Lake Isabella now.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
I moved because it was where I lived was horrible. We were 4,600 feet up, and the winters were it was a 4 miles unmaintained road. It was just, everything about it was horrible.
Well, they've got a pedophile that the government has placed in their community.
Oh, that one. Oh, yeah. No, I actually know what that is. You know who's renting the house to him? I was told Jeremy Stott on Fuller Way, right around the corner from where I lived.
Really?
They're having a community. I believe they're having a community meeting on the 16th up there in Hart Flat.
Well, they had one last night, according to KGT.
Yeah, it's not actually Keene. It's actually in Hart Flat.
Is it? Okay.
They use Keene as the address because Hart Flat's that's where the post office is, but it's actually in Hart Flat itself.
Okay. And our district attorney
he's convicted of apparently a violent sexual predator.
Twice.
Relocated there by the sheriff's department, I guess by the courts.
Yeah, he was convicted in 10 years apart twice. For
right, and he's apparently not just your average, he's not like he's looking at child porn. He's actually a convicted predator.
Yeah.
And there was a big outrage. I actually know where the house he's being relocated to, and if that rumor that I was told is renting it to him is true, that's very disappointing.
Yeah.
The individual renting it to him.
Yeah, the DA was up there at the town hall along with Chris Parlier, supervisor for that district, and I think they're going to get him moved out of there.
It's an upscale neighborhood, but it's sort of like moving. If you lived in LA, it'd be like taking a convicted Crips member and moving in the middle of Beverly Hills. It's, these are $1 million homes. And there's no transportation, there's no local services. What's the guy going to do?
Yeah.
There's not even a supermarket. I mean, literally nothing. It's a rural residential area. So what do you expect this guy to do in that area?
Yeah, I got to move on because again, I only have a couple of minutes with you. For the first time, Howard, I've been very critical of Operation Epic Fury, but I've been in favor of it. I just don't like the way it's been waged. This is the first time, Howard, I don't see an off-ramp. The president went on Meet the Press on Sunday, and Marco Rubio has said that and said that the war is over and that the uranium is so far underneath the ground that only China and the United States can dig it up. Right. And this is why I have screamed every single day since Epic Fury has begun that the president has to play this straight. Because when he was coming home from a Knicks game last night, he said that we're 2 or 3 days away from an agreement, that they wanted an agreement so badly. And then they wake up in the morning and they shot down one of our helicopters and damn near killed 2 of our pilots. Are you as concerned?
He said we're close to agreement 38 times. Here's the problem. There's internal pressure. There's a cat with. He doesn't care. He's not going to run again. I think there's internal pressure because of the midterms within his cabinet. People around him are seeing the polls, which Trump's never cared about polls. But the reality of it is, I'm very disappointed because you're urging restraint on Israel not to retaliate and run missile barrages after missile barrages after missile barrages, ordering them around like they're a 10-year-old child, and forcing them to acquiesce because they've essentially turned them into a client state when they're being attacked by not only by Iran, but by Hezbollah. And then we get a helicopter shot down with no casualties, one helicopter, and he's saying we must retaliate. Well, there has to be an equivalency there. You can't tell the Israelis not to retaliate when you actually have citizens being killed and wounded, and under constant barrages, not just occasional, and then say, well, we get one helicopter shot down, we have to retaliate. My opinion is you bomb them to get the same response we got from Germany and Japan, unconditional surrender, because all the Iranians
they have number.
And we're now playing their game. We have them on the ropes militarily. We need to finish it to the point where they have no choice but to either surrender or we kill them all. I'm talking about the military.
I agree.
Not obviously the civilian population.
And he's also written that it's a necessity that we hit back. So now he has to hit back, right?
Right. The only thing I think they were delaying for is there's a minimum, and it's been now a month. There's a minimum of a 2-week resupply. We expended all our missile and arms in the area. They even said that.
Oh, that's scary.
Just to replenish our arsenal, so to speak, it's going to be literally a 5-year process. They're estimating to actually get our stocks up to where they were pre-war. So if you realize that all the anti-drone capability, the missiles, the armaments, and everything have been drawn down, and we got a 2-week travel time to replenish all the ships in the area, that's what I was hoping was the answer, was that we're waiting to replenish. But that time frame's elapsed. So between you and me on the outside, because we're all on the outside, I don't have a clue what's going on at this point. We all know that negotiations are not working, that they're obviously making contradictory statements. This is what they've done for 47 years, and we've been sucked back into playing their game. And I never expected Trump to do that.
I didn't either. I really didn't.
I'm disappointed. I'm not an absolutist. I'm not a MAGA guy without question. I'm very disappointed in the current responses. The answer is, if they walk away from the negotiating table or play a game, you just resume bombing until they stop.
I agree. But I don't.
Well, otherwise, what have we accomplished?
I've told my audience that's not going to happen. I don't think we're going to bomb again. I really don't.
I think we've lost.
I think they're so fearful.
Because all they're going to do is rearm with China and Russia and North Korea. They've got a land route now to Russia where they're rearming that way. They still have missiles left. Approximately 22% of their missile capability still exists. And Israel can't let them just walk away. Israel will have to step in whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
They can't let them rearm again.
Hang on one second.
And they're going to have to go into northern Lebanon now, because the Litani River, where they were having a ceasefire agreement, is full of Hezbollah.
Yeah.
And the Lebanese army doesn't have it, and they're basically an Iranian proxy. They do exactly what the Iranians tell them to do.
Hang on, Howard. I got to get an update. Where are we at, Chris?
I'm sorry. You got the date wrong. The ambassador is Thursday, not today.
Shut up!
Yeah.
You are lying through your teeth.
Madeline just told me that you are aware this is on Thursday, correct? And I'm like, no, I was told it was today. So all of this freaking out over nothing. That's on you.
Take your time, Howard. Take your time. Take your time. We got plenty of time. We got plenty of time. We got the ambassador coming out on Thursday, by the way. No, come on, man. Get back in here. Don't go tell JR. Get back in here, Burdick. Don't go run around telling the staff. You know what that 63-year-old man did?
I ain't going to tell anybody. I'm just taking a lap.
Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit. Hey, I only missed by 2 days.
No comment. That's the joys of aging. You can blame it on your memory.
Hey, man, I only missed by 2 days. Give a brother a break.
Oh, my God. Oh, well. Well, we continue then. Okay.
And I booked him. And I booked him apparently in lieu of Daniel Petrie. Oh no, it's 4:15. So turnip seed's not here this week. Thank you, Jesus.
No. Oh, okay.
Thank you, Jesus. Turnip seed's on vacation, so I don't have to reschedule Thursday at 4:15. I would have given $50 to bid on the phone with Madeline when she told Burdick, "You do know that this is on Thursday, don't you?" Wow. Ralph Bailey, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So what else is going on, Howard? We got another 10 minutes. What's popping?
Well, there's lots of stuff. I mean, you turn around. You were talking about Carmelo Anthony.
Lord.
The trial that is concluded. They had no self-defense. I mean, the legal expert, two defense witnesses says that was literally a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
And the fact that I don't know if you realize he was disciplined for bringing a knife to school before.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that came out also. That this was the first run-in where they found a knife on his backpack. That he was apparently routinely carrying it.
It's crazy.
No in the schools at any time with anybody.
Crazy.
And we have a doctrine of appropriate force. To use lethal force, you have to be facing lethal force, or the expectation of lethal force. And the shoving match and intent at a
track meet
sporting event doesn't meet the criteria. That's why the jury got so quick to convict, I believe. Because if you disregard the self-defense claim, he had no defense.
Yeah, it was open and shut. And how you don't have that kid testify is malpractice, as far as I'm concerned. Because that was your only hope.
Sometimes unless they thought he was going to be his own worst witness, that's quite often they leave people off the stand. They're afraid they let him testify. But you remember, this is also Texas. I'm not sure if he would have swayed a jury there.
But if you truly believe, if you're his attorney and you truly believe that this kid was fearful for his life and did this out of reaction for fear of his life, you got to have him tell a story. You got to have him tell a story.
Yeah, no, it's possible, but but all the testimony, all the statements the kid made.
Oh, it was open and shut.
Wasn't a fear for his life because he dared the kid to touch him, and apparently the victim said, "I don't want to get a fight at a track meet." and he had been told 15 times to leave the tent by others there, and the people that testified. If you look at the testimony, which I read about, they said that the victim was unwilling to become physical, and that the other people had tried to. We saw the guy with his hand in the backpack, just waiting for someone to approach him.
This isn't.
So it was an easy case. It's a tragedy for all involved.
It's not even worth discussing.
Lost, essentially.
It's not even worth discussing. I'm on a heater about this fraud nonsense because now it's come to my station officially, and I'm livid about it. But it is what it is. How do the Democrats have a mechanism to turn presidential elections, and yet they don't use it every single election? How do you switch 60,000 votes in Los Angeles County, and there's not one iota of evidence? I've got people in the chat room that believe this, and yet they won't cite their evidence. They won't say, well, this is why, Ralph, you're nuts. There's fraud, and this is what it is. And this is what it is, and here it is. I'm guessing if there's a 60,000 vote swing, it should be pretty easy to point out the fraud. If there's millions of votes that were switched in a presidential election, it seems to me it would be pretty easy to point that out.
Well, here's the situation, the problem we have with California voting. There was what's called the Safe Voting Act in 2003, and they allow any ID. And I looked this up. It can be a gym membership, a library card, any kind of issued ID to you to allow you to vote. And when initial voters that come in are not ID checked at the polling place, which is unusual. California has both lenient polling requirements in the United States, and they also have motor voter. If you register your car to vote, regardless if you're legal or not, you receive a ballot. You're registered to vote.
But the reason that it's taking so long is that all the mail-in ballots are verified by signature.
That's all they're doing is checking signatures. They're not checking the legal status of the person. They're not checking if they're allowed to vote.
So you believe that there's you think there's massive voter fraud in California?
Well, it's called ballot harvesting also. I watched it.
No, that's not my question. That's not my question.
Well, I saw it happen in Kern County. It did. I saw the 30th Assembly race with Dean Gardner, and I think it was Nicole Parr at that time. I was a poll watcher at the 30th precinct, and I watched all day long, literally all day long, UFW trucks would come in, buses, little bitty buses, full of farm workers, all day long. Marched them in, they voted, marched them out, drove them back. Do you think any of them were voting for Dean Gardner? Do you think they had a clue what they were doing? These are people straight from the fields. And that was an early example. This was, 20 years ago?
But that's not voter fraud. That's not
people that are not registered or entitled or legal theoretically to vote to collect ballots. It's a simple act to only collect ballots that you can look at.
So, Howard, you believe that the mayoral election was overturned by voter fraud?
I think that there were so many discrepancies. Here's the problem you've got.
See, this is what I get whenever I ask one of these election deniers. This is the question. This is the answer that I get whenever I ask. I can never get a yes or a no. I can never, ever. If I ever ask an election denier, I can never get a yes or no.
I think there was a yes. I think there was. I'll tell you why.
So Spencer Pratt got robbed.
Well, here's the thing. You have an air of impropriety when you do things this way.
I agree.
And you fuel conspiracy.
I agree.
And you fuel the obvious answer.
I agree.
One be ahead, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a person that is literally unheard of, the third candidate, who was in third place, who no one even paid attention to, he had no chance of winning at all, suddenly overtake him, no man who ran a brilliant campaign. And it's simple when you're within the system to count ballots until you have a winner, and then you just stop counting. And that's what they've done in the past. In the last presidential election, remember, they called California with 2 million, 3 million votes uncounted.
You're breaking my heart, Howard. You're breaking my heart.
I'm not saying it's a yes or no. I'm just saying you fuel that when you don't do things in a legitimate way that disproves the conspiracy theories.
Then why is Steve Hilton winning?
To vote that should be voting.
Why is Steve Hilton?
Balance to literally everybody.
Why
so
is?
Have some fraud.
Can you stop for just a second? Why is Steve Hilton winning?
Well, I think because the candidates he had were so flawed that they were running against. Becerra had nothing to speak for, and Steiner came across as more extreme, if possible, than Newsom.
Yeah, but it's fixed though, Howard. How do you lose a fixed crap game?
Well, look at the difference in the votes. It wasn't a blowout, and they're still counting votes. Steve Hilton is ahead of, Becerra is ahead of Steve Hilton by what? 50,000 votes, a very small margin out of the million and something. Look at the margins. Look at the percentages.
No, I think Becerra has like a 200. I think Becerra has a 200,000 vote lead on Hilton.
Yeah.
200,000, not 50.
Right, but he was behind, so it's already happened. Hilton was in the lead. Remember?
So it's all fixed. It's all fixed. It's all fixed.
No, I just think that the voting system is so flawed.
Okay, so then it's not fixed.
Rule out the possibility of voter fraud.
So then it's
that's what I'm trying to get across. You cannot say 100% there's no voting fraud if the system is so flawed that voting fraud can happen. That's the point.
Okay, let me stop you. Let me finish now before you interrupt me. So you're telling me that in the same system that elected a Republican for governor,
right,
the Los Angeles County folks have a way they can manipulate and shove a Democrat over the Republican, despite the fact that only 25% of Los Angeles is Republican. And this guy won 23% of the vote, which is amazing to do in Los Angeles. But we're shocked. We're shocked that a Democrat won in a county that is made 75% Democrats.
No, I'm not shocked. I told you before. You asked me last week. Remember, I said I hope for the best and expect the worst. I thought Pratt had an outside chance, but he ran a brilliant campaign, and Bass was as flawed a candidate as you can get. The astounding thing isn't that Pratt lost. The astounding thing is that Bass won because of her. If you can't have that bad, or if you can have that bad a record and get reelected by the citizens of Los Angeles, which, by the way, had an infinitesimal turnout among the population. A city of 8 million, very low turnout. But in spite of that someone like Bass can be reelected after the fires and the homelessness and all the horrible issues that she's part of. That's the astounding part. It's not the fraud. It's not that Pratt lost. It's that she won. That's the part that should people be astounded by.
But
how flawed a candidate can you have and still win as a Democrat?
So we shouldn't be astounded by the fact that the president of the United States and radio people are saying that this is fraud and it was rigged and it was fixed and.
Well, they're finding elements of fraud all the time. That the problem is, what percentage of fraud has to be done to say that there's fraud? Is there widespread fraud? There's fraud all the time. There's always been fraud. That's the joke. When they go through, California right now, I don't know if you know, there's a federal request to audit the voter rolls in California, and California has turned them down. When you do that kind of thing, all you do is fuel, again, the conspiracy ideas that there's an issue. If you're going to be transparent, you put that stuff to bed.
And let's be transparent, because you're not being transparent right now. That's a very nice fact to throw out there. But you neglect to say that 18 other states, many of them Republican states, also didn't want the federal government monkeying around in their election rolls. That's not a weird thing, Howard. That's a common fact.
No, I'm not disagreeing. I don't think there's a power structure in place that wants to be questioned when they're winning. But I think that when you look at the overall voting, that when you look at the states that are trying to enact voter ID rules, they tend to be red states over blue. When you think that people are trying to strengthen up the Save America Act equivalent at a state level, it's not the Democratic states that are pushing for voter ID.
All right. You're breaking my heart, Howard.
Is that true?
That is true. I'm all in favor of voter ID. I think you're right that we have created.
Americans are.
We've created.
Democrats statewide are resisting it.
We've created reason to believe that there's fraud, but no one has come up with a scintilla of evidence. And it's just dangerous to put that out there and sow the seeds of doubt within our citizenry.
Well, it's hard to do. You're right. You're destroying our civic. You're destroying our civic pride, our belief in government.
Yeah,
things are fairness and all that. You're right. You destroy it when you allow this to happen. The way to fix it is to fix the system. It's gone, and we haven't done that.
I got to fly, Howard. Always good to talk to you, even when you break my heart. Talk to you later.
Hey, at least I'm on the right day, and so are you now.
Yes, the ambassador is coming up in just a minute. We'll see. We'll see you. Quick time out. No, there's no ambassador. In fact, the ambassador doesn't exist. I made the whole damn thing up. Let's go. Let's go.
Turn Radio. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
Every Thursday at 4:30, Daniel Petrie lightens up the broadcast with his incredible wit, pure intelligence, political knowledge, and obviously an absolute master of economics. That's why he's such an important cog in this broadcast. You can hear him even on some of his.
Well, then why was she bugging me all morning long
Our
there?
financial movements that we can't explain, we lean on my man from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. And of course, you know what they're all about. They're all about retirement. I've turned at least 3 or 4 different people on to Messmaker Petrie Wealth Advisors, and they could not be happier. You could be happy as
My
well.
ambassador-
with your situation
my
in terms
ambassador
of
is
the
not till
fourth
Thursday.
quarter in your
That was
life.
today.
If you call 395-9400,
Well, then why did she bug me? She woke me up at 6 o'clock this morning and called me back at 8 o'clock and then texted me twice and emailed me.
This broadcast is for information purposes only and does not constitute investment advice or a solicitation for advisory services by Daniel Petrie or MPWA Incorporated, DBA, Messmaker, and Petrie Wealth Advisors. The program host is a client and receives compensation and other financial benefits in connection with this
perfect. John
advertisement,
C's
creating
not
a
here.
conflict of
That's
interest.
perfect.
Experiences discussed may not be representative of other clients.
Meet
I
Paul
saw your
Sheldon's
face and I
client,
was like,
Dr.
oh my God,
Roland
what has
Rodriguez.
Hello, this is Bakersfield
Unbelievable.
General Surgeon Dr. Roland Rodriguez, client and friend of Mr.
Oh, I know.
It is my
I'm
great
having a
pleasure
fucking
and
nervous
privilege to
breakdown.
relate all of you my absolute exemplary experience with Team Paul Sheldon. I have also referred a number of
But I got
my
Chris
colleagues
Kelly
to
coming in here in a
Paul
minute.
Sheldon's office, only to receive the most
Oh, is
stellar
he here?
feedback from my doctor friends regarding
Romeo?
the office's expert
Little short
navigation
Filipino guy?
through the complex maze that is Medicare. And even though
The
Paul Sheldon
genius.
himself is now facing some temporary health challenges, his long-standing and most experienced
Thank
and
you.
expertly trained team of ladies.
I mean, there are only
Christine,
25%
Ellie,
Republicans in the
Lynn,
city.
continue
And they
to
all
back
voted for him.
and guide
He got like
through
24% of the
complicated
vote.
world of Medicare.
Like, you
You
really
most
thought
definitely could
Democrats?
not
My
possibly
mother's the
do
only
any better
Democrat in LA
than
to
to
vote.
reach out to Paul Sheldon several
So
months
my mother said
before
she voted for him.
35.
She's
Thank
the
you.
only Democrat that I've heard of that voted for him. She said her friends made fun of her. Her friends in her building, the young kids in her building said, "Mrs. Bailey, you're such an idealist."
On the Wednesday edition of the First Look program, we'll talk a little medicine with our friend Dr. Bip Deb. John Cox will join us in studio, I hope, to administer the California News Quiz, and we will have the very latest and state-of-the-art news, traffic, and weather.
I'd never heard of.
Exactly. To 9 a.m. Right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio
And the other thing
program.
is this
You are
fraud
listening
deal.
to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
So the ambassador will be with us on Thursday. But Chris Kelly from Hard Rock Cafe will join us right after these important words.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
For news, I'm Keith Peters in Washington.
Jesus
the U.S.
Christ.
military
My
said
blood pressure
Tuesday
just
that
went
it
from
carried out strikes on Iran following the
140
crash of
over
an Army
90 to
helicopter near the
120
Strait
over
of
80.
Hormuz that President Trump blamed on the Islamic Republic.
Yeah, I was freaked
U.S.
out
Central
'cause we
Command
didn't have
said on
phones
social
and
media that the
I didn't wanna
strike would
do,
be a
you know,
proportional
a cabinet
response to
member over a
unjustified
cell phone.
Iranian aggression.
I mean, we
Iranian
look like,
state
you
media
know,
reports that the
Bedrock? What are we,
explosions were heard on Keshem Island
you
in the
know?
Strait of Hormuz.
Jeez.
A bill to provide nearly
know,
$70
for 2
billion
days.
for immigration enforcement narrowly passed the House on Tuesday and now goes to President Trump for his signature, fueling the administration's deportation agenda for the remainder of his time in the White House. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 86 points, the Nasdaq dropped 250, the S&P lower by 19. More details at srnnews.com.
In the War of 1812. Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN. Headlines from the KERN newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. Thousands of dollars worth of recently stolen items were found at a house on Smith Street, and 3 people have been arrested, say Kern County deputies. They made that discovery Monday, but have not yet said what led them there. 47-year-old Alfredo Gonzalez, 46-year-old John Estachio, and 20-year-old Gregorio Gonzalez, all of Bakersfield, are facing commercial burglary and several other charges. A body found in a burning car. That body was discovered while firefighters were trying to put the car fire out last night, says the Kern County Sheriff's Office. That car was at Oswald and Oregon Streets about 10:30 p.m., and as soon as they thought something was up, firefighters called for deputies who confirmed the body was in the car. So far, how that person died has not been determined. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft.
Oh no.
That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own.
Ralph Bailey.
If we find anything suspicious, like new loans
genius.
or changes to your
How are you,
financial
Pop?
accounts, we alert you right away, all through
Hi, Ralph
text,
Bailey.
phone, email,
Nice to meet
or
you.
the LifeLock app.
Have a seat.
Get the alerts that could make all the difference. Save up to 30% with promo code NEWS.
Having a
at
nervous breakdown,
LifeLock.com.
man.
Terms apply.
Thought I had the.
My name is Whitney Allen.
Well, our
and I'm
phones
a
are
widow.
down.
My husband Ryan died.
And
He
I
never
have,
thought
we've
we'd
got
ever
this
have to use life
connection
insurance,
with the
but
Trump
the unexpected
administration.
happened.
I had
With
the
Ethos, signing
agriculture
up was
secretary
fast
on
and
2 weeks
100%
ago, and
online.
the
You can
labor
get a quote in
secretary
seconds,
on last
apply in
week,
minutes,
and we're
and
going
get
to have
same day
Ambassador
coverage.
James
No medical
Greer
exams,
on today.
and you can get up to $3
And
million
so our
worth of
phones are
coverage.
down, so I didn't want to do it
Grateful we
with a
were
cell
prepared.
phone.
Get your free quote at ethos.com.
We did it with Howard. It sounded
That's
okay. So we're like, let's do it. All right.
ethos.com/term.
Freaking out.
Are you looking for a
We call
hospital
one
that
of
truly
the
cares for your
connection.
health and well-being?
I
At
said,
Good
yeah, we can do
Samaritan
it. Almost no
Hospital,
problem,
they
but
provide
Ralph
high-quality
knows
medical
that
detox,
the interview's
psychiatric
Thursday,
services, and medical and surgical care. They accept most insurances, including Medi-Cal, Medicare, and Kern Family. They offer Kern County's longest standing inpatient detox program with dual diagnosis that combines medical care and withdrawal
So we just
management
talking about
all
Monica,
under
or
one
what else are
roof.
we talking
Learn more at GoodSamaritanHospital.com or call 661-215-7500. Good Samaritan Hospital. They care for their community.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Okay, let me see if I can get control of my own radio broadcast here. The ambassador will be with us on Thursday at 4:15. Now, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Ralph, get control of your broadcast. You have Mike Turnipseed on at 4 o'clock. Mr. Turnipseed is on vacation. Thank you, Jesus. So Mr. Turnipseed will be back with us in a week or two. But the ambassador, who's scheduled in my silly head for today, will be on Thursday. I apologize for misleading you guys. It was not on purpose. But we will talk with Jameson Greer, the ambassador to trade, on Thursday. Again, I apologize. But in the meantime, those of you watching on YouTube can tell, Chris Kelly, the head of Hard Rock Cafe, is live in studio with us. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me on. It's great to be here with you.
Yeah, I guess you are doing well. You are the hit. You are the talk of this community. I haven't seen anything get this community excited in the 30 years I've lived here. I really haven't. This is a big boost for our community, employment-wise, gaming-wise, everything.
It's exciting, right? And we're about 7 months old, believe it or not. It's gone pretty quickly, but it's been an eventful 7 months.
Yeah, and there are more things to come. Talk about the future a little bit.
Yeah, well, first, we're very grateful to be where we are. It's been an extraordinary reception that we've had from this community. So we're very thankful for our guests, for our team members, to the Tejon tribe, for all those folks that helped us get off to an amazing start. But thanks to that amazing start, we're already talking about phase 2. So phase 2 includes things like that hotel. And who wouldn't like to stay overnight after an amazing experience at the property? We're talking about that food and beverage footprint. As you know, we won Best Place to Eat in Kern County, as well as Best Employer. And we're also looking at how can we grow that entertainment footprint, as well as some of our other amenities. And so those conversations are going in earnest, and we hope to have an announcement later this year.
Nice. What are some of the signature restaurants on the property?
Well, you can't say Hard Rock without talking about the Hard Rock Cafe, right? That's what started it all way back in 1971. And so we have one of the largest of any regional property in the country, seats in the hundreds. We've had some amazing entertainers there already. We just had Leanne Rives just a few weeks ago. And so it's an amazing place to eat. It's an amazing place for live music as well. We have our Deep Cut Steakhouse, which is our fine dining establishment. We have UU Asian Restaurant, and we have a marketplace where you can get everything from tacos to bricked pizza. I eat there every week. As Heather knows, she's in the room with us. We have a chicken concept. We have a 24-hour coffee restaurant. So we have plenty of things to do when you walk through those doors.
Yeah. What is the main gaming? Is it still mostly slots? That's what most casinos bank on.
It is.
No pun intended.
It is. Yeah, well done there, by the way. I like that. I'm going to use that one. So it is. It's primarily slots, but we have a tremendous number of table games as well. And so you can really tailor that gaming experience to what you enjoy. But the majority experience is still slots. And so we've got over 2,000 slots. We actually just added slots to the gaming floor. So we're up to about 2,100 as we sit here today.
Yeah. What do you think the lion's share of the population of the casino is? Is it Bakersfield? Is it LA County? Is it a mixture? Who's coming there?
Yeah, really interesting story. So when we were talking about it before we built the place, right? And we were like, well, where's everybody going to come from? We're right, outside of where we're sitting right now. We're just, a handful of minutes away. So we knew we would draw well from the Bakersfield community, and we absolutely have. The big question was, how are we going to do with LA County, downtown LA, on the other side of the grapevine? And what we have found is we're drawing extraordinarily well from LA. And so a huge percentage of our business is actually coming from downtown LA and areas around there. And so that's a great thing for Kern County, because those folks are staying in our hotels, they're shopping in our shops and retail establishments, they're going to our restaurants in and around Bakersfield. And so not only is it a good thing for Hard Rock Casino Tejon, it's a great thing for Bakersfield and Kern County.
I just left downtown LA. That's where my mother lives, in downtown.
How was the drive?
I'm sorry?
How was the drive?
How was the drive? It's always horrendous.
It depends, right? Depends on time of day. It can be better or worse.
Yeah, but I hate the LA drive. And I'm from LA, but I can't stand it. I have just one great gripe with the casino. I'm a poker guy, and there's no poker.
Oh, yeah.
There's no poker people right there.
Video poker.
Yeah.
But we don't have a poker room. And so that's one of those questions as we talk about our growth plan. How do we think about things like poker? But that's a question I get a lot. What are we thinking about in the future? Are we going to have a poker room? Are we not? And so that's one of those questions for us to consider as we grow the space and add amenities.
Talking with Chris Kelly from the Hard Rock Cafe. And one of the things that I'm so excited about, Manav Shah is a personal friend and a friend of this broadcast. He's a great kid. And he went down to Texas and he beat Sergio Garcia, some of the greatest players on the planet. He's qualified for Shinnecock Hills.
Amazing.
He's there already with his family. His wife is going to be on the bag with him. And you all have signed a one-year sponsorship with him. His name is going to be, your name is going to be on his bag. And we're hoping that he makes the cut, so it'll be on national television.
Yeah.
We're really excited about this. Congratulations for bringing him in.
So proud of him.
Yeah.
What an amazing story.
It is.
What a class act.
Yes, he is.
Just one of those people you want to cheer for.
Yeah.
Great story. Obviously, first from Bakersfield ever to make that before, right?
Yeah.
And I think, I've never kind of gone beyond the miniature golf circuit, but I think he's got great potential. I think he could surprise some people.
I do too. I think he's going to make the cut, and that's all we want. I mean, it'd be lovely to see him in contention on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
But right now, we just want to see him make the cut.
Yeah.
See his name being mentioned on Saturday and Sunday on a national broadcast.
Absolutely.
And to see that Hard Rock Cafe logo
Hard Rock
on
Casino
his bag.
Tejon. Yeah. And if it's not this year, it's going to be down the road. This guy's going to have an amazing career.
Absolutely. He's going to be on the tour.
For sure.
What do you tell people when they ask you, never been? Like, I've yet to be there, which is crazy because I'm a degenerate gambler. But what do you tell people when you try to convince them to come about 20 minutes down the road?
Well, I say, hey, just give us a shot. And the amazing thing about a property like ours is you can do so many different things. What do you like to do? Do you like music? Come on down. We've got live music 4 days a week. Do you like a great meal? Come on down. We've got 8 different places for you to choose from. Do you like gaming? We've got 2,100 different slots for you to choose from, 66 different table games. We've got something for everyone. We have an amazing retail shop. That Hard Rock branding is iconic. It's recognized around the globe. And so we've got something really for everyone. And if you give us one shot, we have a pretty good idea that you'll be back again. Our team members are some of the best in the world. And we take great pride in taking care of our guests.
Yeah. I've got one of my best friends is from Taft, so he's right there from you guys. And he travels all over the world. And you need to hire this guy as part of your PR team.
All right.
Because Big Dog doesn't have a negative thing to say about you guys. He says it's got some of the best food he's ever had. He loves the place. He's there just about every week. He's down there. He drives up there.
Oh, wow.
So you got a big, big fan out in Taft. As I've been approached by so many people that speak so well of the casino.
We're really grateful for that. We've had just a wonderful response from the community, and it's on us now to make sure we honor that and continue to build on that momentum.
Yeah. Let's leave with this. Tell us about Chris Kelly. How'd you get in the gaming business?
Yeah, so I started about 25 years ago. I started right out of college. I never had the thought that I would be the president of anything. And if you met me as a 20-couple-year-old guy, you would have said one thing, and it was that this guy's never going to be the president of anything. And so it's very fortunate. A lot of folks kind of invested in me over the years. I started on the slot side of the business and really just grew up in it. And one opportunity led to the next. And over the years, I found I really loved it. And as those opportunities grew, I grew up in the business, made mistakes, but learned at the same time. And had a great experience with a tribe in California. Spent many years there, started at kind of the bottom, ultimately became the general manager of that facility.
Yeah.
Jumped to MGM Resorts. I was the president of a number of different properties there.
Really?
Had this opportunity and saw that this was an opportunity that you don't say no to. I was employee number one and came out here and a few years ago, and I joined this project, and it was just coming out of the ground. And I'm so grateful now to have 1,400 bandmates working alongside me. And so this has been an amazing project.
There are some new gaming laws that are going to impact casinos in the state of California, but you all are exempt from those laws, correct?
Well, we have a compact with the state of California that really defines our relationship. That there's been some recent rulings from the Department of Justice that impacted some card rooms.
Yeah.
Those have been kind of set aside now.
Trying to get rid of blackjack.
Ruling. And so those have been paused. And so we're not impacted by those.
Okay.
But yeah, we do have a compact with the state of California that defines our process.
Outstanding. Well, congratulations. It's been a
Thank you so
tremendous
much.
success in your first 7 months. I see nothing but bigger things for this, and this community is in debt to you. It really is.
We're grateful, and we're excited for what's next.
We appreciate you taking the time and coming on the program.
Thank you so much. It's
All
been
right.
a pleasure.
Take care. Chris
Talk to you
Kelly,
soon.
everybody. In the background, you don't see the genius Romeo Agbalog and the aforementioned Heather as assistant, but believe me. In fact, it's my show. That's right. Don't squirm. Don't squirm. You know what I'm going to do. Okay, so that's Heather. Say hi, Heather. And that's the genius. That's Romeo Agbalog. All right, very good. Just wanted to embarrass my friend Romeo. That's all I wanted to do. Let's take a quick time out. We come back. Nick Ragone joins us at the top of the hour. The other genius that I know.
They can't even see
The other genius that I know, Nick Ragone, played golf with Jason Kelsey yesterday in Marion. We're going to talk to Nick at the top of the hour. In the meantime, you're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, and we're streaming live at KernRadio.com. Sweet. That was great. Thanks, Chris.
Kern Radio.
Yeah, no problem.
News Talk 96.1.
Absolutely.
and
I haven't gone down there yet. I definitely will.
Is the
I know
volatility
so
of the
many
stock market driving you crazy?
of your employees. I know a
Is
couple of your
retirement
dealers,
account
and I know
sinking,
Aubrey
yet you're
who's
getting
working for
older,
you. Aubrey
and you're
Falcons.
starting to worry
she's
about,
doing
will I
something
have
for you.
enough
Yeah.
for retirement?
It's been a
What about the money in
tremendous
the
success.
bank?
Like I said, my guy
These
Big
banks
Dog
pay
speaks nothing.
nothing these days.
So
How do we
incredibly
get
highly
growth
valued.
to get to retirement accounts? It's
you,
simple.
when I meet him.
Move into gold
I'll tell
and
him if he
silver.
sees you to introduce
Want
himself.
to know how to
I
do
will.
it?
Thanks, you.
Listen
Thank
to
you.
my show.
Absolutely.
Striking Gold
Let's get in front
with
of
me,
this.
Kenny Michaels.
Was at Lawson's last night and ran into Julie Escalante, bartender extraordinaire at Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen. And I know everybody knows Julie. She's been in the bar for years now. And of course, don't forget about the
Thanks,
mini
man. No
bar
problem.
outside. It's a great
Thank you,
venue.
sir.
But again, what can I tell you about
Appreciate it,
Luigi's
Pop.
Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen?
All right,
You
man.
don't already know.
This weekend, maybe.
You
Yeah.
all voted them in the most recent Bakersfield California poll. Just about best everything. They had best
Let's do it.
steak, best
All right, Pop.
everything. And of course, they're one of the most iconic restaurants in Kern County, if not the single most iconic restaurant, being in business for 116 years. In fact, if you've been on the internet, there's a reels from a woman who went down to Beverly Hills, and one of the Beverly Hills waitresses
knew about Luigi's
got to
and
hear
talked
this
about the
Kelsey
great
story.
food she had when she was visiting Bakersfield.
Oh,
Where
what
would
a
you rather
day.
be than at Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen, longtime sponsors of the
Are you
Ralph
serious?
Bailey Show.
Look, folks, you already know that your garage door is a very
For
important
45
part of your
minutes?
home, from the overall look of the place to the safety and security it provides. So obviously, you should
His
only
apartment?
trust the service, repair, and maintenance of your garage door to the pros at King Door Company. Their skill and product knowledge are unmatched in the industry, and that's no accident. The
I would
techs
have
at King Door
prosecuted
are
him.
rigorously trained at the King Door Academy.
What?
That's right.
Is that a
King Door
secret?
has an in-house training facility to make sure your job is done
How long
right
has he been
on
back
the
in the
first
pad?
try. They're trained in all the latest equipment,
Shut up.
tools, and techniques.
He's still
They
in a
even learn how to
hotel?
listen to customer
Shut
concerns through
up.
role-playing exercises. And you'll see how well all this
Wow.
training works when they show up
And they're
right
paying
on
for
time
that?
in fully stocked service trucks with
'Cause
all the
that's
parts and equipment
$1.50
to
a
service
night.
or repair any garage door. Like I said, your garage door is a very important part of your home, so leave it to the pros at King Door Company. Schedule your
Immediately?
appointment today at kingdoor.com. King Door Company, the company with the pride of a lion.
Did you really think Pure Talk was just going to sit back and watch America turn 250 years old without doing something awesome to celebrate? Of course not.
Ooh.
That's why they're
That makes
raising
sense. That's nice.
$250,000 for America's Warrior Partnership by the end of July. America's Warrior Partnership is on the front line of preventing veteran
still in there?
suicide. They've had extraordinary success, and here's how you can help. When you switch your cell phone service to Pure Talk this month, you'll be invited to round up to support America's Warrior Partnership. No pressure, but if you
Yeah, our
do,
car's gone.
Pure Talk will match your donation dollar for dollar. And
See
to further
Romeo in his
celebrate
Porsche?
250 years of our extraordinary democratic republic, Pure Talk is offering unlimited talk, text, and data for just $34.99 a month. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. That's pound 250, say Mike Rowe. And happy
thought I
birthday
met him,
to
but
us.
he just
Hey
looks
folks,
familiar
Scott
'cause I've
Cox
seen him
here,
on
host of the
TV.
First Look with Scott Cox radio program.
What a
You are
bad
listening
show.
to the Ralph Bailey Show right
No.
here on News Talk
No, I just seen him on
96.1
TV.
AM 1230 KERN.
You know, as I want to say, two things can be true simultaneously. And this has been one of the worst shows I've ever done. It's been one of the best shows I've ever done. Discussion-wise, it's been an A+. Production-wise, it's been a bit about a D-. But as Ethel Merman said, the show must go on. And I'm excited that in just a matter of minutes, we're going to talk to Nick Ragone. I just want to hear about this round he played. He played at Marion, which if you're not a golfer, it doesn't mean a damn thing to you. But if you are a 15 handicap or below, you know that Marion is one of the oldest and greatest golf courses in the United States. And so just to get to play Marion, it'd be a story that I'd want to hear. But he got to play on a team with Jason Kelsey. It was he and Jason Kelsey in a shamble. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Nelly Korda winning the U.S. Open at LA Riviera Country Club. And the U.S. Open is coming up, as we mentioned, with Manav Shah, local boy, qualified down in Texas way, and is going to be playing in Shinnecock. Very excited about that. And sponsored by Hard Rock Cafe Casino. 842-5376, 842-KRN. We have yet to check the board. What do you got?
Mario's chimed in.
Mario
says, "Hi, Ralph and Chris. Can someone please explain why El Presidente has so much evidence of election fraud and why he won't just release it? I need to see the evidence."
You just made my day, Mario. You just made my day. Because I've been dealing with these folks that can't answer the question, that don't say yes or no. The reason that, no, it's a yes or no. You either believe in fraud or you don't. And you're exactly right. It's great to hear from what we have dubbed our smartest listener, Mario, saying that. That you would think that if you had 6 years to prove fraud, where Democrats switched millions upon millions upon millions of votes, you would think you could come up with one piece of evidence. And in a county with 8 million people, and there was a 60,000 vote swing, you would think that you could come up with one bit of evidence. And the fact that Steve Hilton, don't hear from me, let's pull up the audio of the top two gubernatorial candidates, Steve Hilton.
We've seen nothing that would give us cause to intervene in that way. But
That's
more
all we
importantly-
need. We've seen nothing. So the only Republican in the state of California, beyond me, that doesn't believe there's fraud is the guy that won. Isn't that funny how that works that way? Isn't that pretty hilarious? But everybody else is screaming fraud. It just, do you understand what you're saying? What you're saying is Ralph Bailey has a pair of dice. And Ralph Bailey can make those dice say 13 if he wants to. And so Ralph Bailey used those dice in 2020. And he took everybody's money and walked away a champion with everybody's money. And then 4 years later, there was another big craps game. And for some reason, Ralph didn't use his magical dice. And he lost money. Isn't that funny? I thought Ralph had dice that could say 13 if he wanted. Why wouldn't he use it 4 years later? He used it in 2020. He took every guy's money. And then 4 years later, there's another craps game. Bailey's got the same dice, and yet he loses money. And then there are two separate crap games using the same dice. And Ralph loses in one game, but he wins in another. But the dice are rigged. So how do you lose with rigged dice? How does Steve Hilton win in a rigged election? If you can walk me through that, then I'll start to believe. But you can't just write in the chat room, Ralph, you're crazy, there's fraud. Well, break it down to me. Talk to me like I'm a 10th grader. Explain to me exactly where the fraud is. You had 6 years to prove Biden cheated, and you still haven't done it. And this is so incredibly dangerous. Because Howard's exactly right. The smartest thing Howard said is that if Democrats would just get up off their whatever it is and say, you know what, you're right, we need voter ID, then there wouldn't be this suspicion. You couldn't plant the seeds the way Donald Trump has, the way some radio announcers have, the way some people even on television have. Well, no, they don't do it on television because you get sued for defamation, the way, Fox did. And they had to give up $800 million when they spread the lie that's being spread on my radio station. Now, thankfully, for some people that work here, we're a tiny little market and nobody's monitoring it, or Rogers Brandon would have to write a check because we are perpetrating a lie. We're such a small market, nobody's paying attention to us. But if we were on a national level, Rogers Brandon would have to sit down and write a check because somebody would sue us for defamation, for lying. There's minuscule amounts of fraud. But if Democrats had a mechanism to switch a presidential, mayoral, gubernatorial, Senate race, there'd be proof. If you got cheated at Caesar's Palace and you went to the Nevada Gaming Board and Caesar's really cheated you, you could prove it. There's cameras everywhere. There'd be evidence of proof. By the way, Mr. Burdick, did you know that you're hosting the show of a very honest man?
Hosting the show?
You are producing the show of a very honest man.
I assumed that.
Well, I proved it this weekend.
Why is that?
Okay, so
How's that actually?
so we went to the casino night
Uh-huh.
with lovely Erin.
Uh-huh.
God, you should have seen Erin. And if you work with Erin, tell her I'm talking about her. God, she was.
I was actually
Because I know Erin, this badass Marine who's a nurse. I know her from Honor Flight. So I've only seen her in jeans and T-shirts. And we've even gone to dinner. I took her to Casey's Steakhouse one night to watch the Dodger game last season. We watched the World Series in the Stockyard. And I've only seen her in jeans and T-shirts. She was in this black jumper that was, oh my God, she is amazing. So anyway, we're playing blackjack. And I'm at the corner end of the table. Okay?
Uh-huh.
So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Ralph.
Uh-huh.
So I'm parallel with the dealer. And these guys aren't professional dealers. Hell, one of the dealers was one of David Bruss' bartenders. And Mr. Burdick, can you guys see this? Hang on a second. And the dealer was doing this. So I'm standing here. And the dealer was doing this. I mean, it wasn't like this, like Vegas dealers. You know what I'm saying?
She's clearly.
He was just like this. And I'm standing there and I'm like, I just saw the 3. So now I've seen it. So now I have to cheat.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, don't hit that. Don't hit that. Just trust me. And we didn't, and we win. And I said, I got to move, but I can see this guy's hold hand. And I just stopped looking because I could have sat there and made a fortune. Now, I know what you're saying. Well, Ralph, you couldn't really win any money. You could only win prizes. But I purposely went out of my way not to look at this guy's hold hand. But, I mean, he was just, you know that scene in Casino when De Niro catches the guy because the guy far away is looking at the dealer because the dealer is holding his hold hand too high and he's Morse coding the thing to the other guy.
Yep.
I was just looking. And I could have sat there and just been like, ooh, he's got an 18. We're not hitting. We're hitting everything. He's got an 18. I could have done that all night long. But I just was like, every time he went to open his hand, I just turned away. You're right. I shouldn't give myself credit for doing things that you're not supposed to do. That's a great Chris Rock thing. He's always like, I hate these daddies that applaud themselves. I take care of my kids. You can't pat yourself on the back for something you're supposed to do. But I know a lot of people in that situation would have been like, okay, all right, yeah, I'm betting big this time. I didn't do it. What else you got?
From 49er Larry.
Oh, Lord.
Last night on Fox News, they stated in California you could register to vote with a gym membership card.
That's correct. And then they check the signature. And you think that there are like 70,000 people that are cheating that turn this thing over? But somehow they didn't cheat in the gubernatorial race because Steve Hilton is there. That's your evidence that you could sign in with a gym card. That's your evidence of massive voter fraud. I suspect that from you, Larry. I really do. And that's a compliment. We are off to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where Nick Ragone has life by the tail. He's pals now with all of the Eagles. He was hanging out with Saquon Barkley. We'll ask him about that. But he played golf with Jason Kelsey, Taylor Swift's brother-in-law. They finished second. Nick made a natural eagle and a couple of birdies. He's a stick. Then the bottom of the hour, we'll talk a little sports. Is it a must-win for the Knicks tomorrow night? They're up 2-1. 2-2. We still got a series, but I think if the Knicks lose tomorrow night, this thing is OVA. Game 5 would be in San Antonio. We'll talk about Serena Williams, who hit the tennis court again today. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. I would stick around if I you.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
This hour from Town Hall, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The House on Tuesday approved a $70 billion ICE funding bill. Correspondent Laura Winters reports.
The $70 billion bill funds ICE through the rest of President Trump's term in office. The legislation cleared the House in a narrow 214 to 212 vote. The Senate approved the bill on Friday after weeks and weeks of roadblocks and delays. Democrats have refused to fund ICE and Border Patrol unless there are reforms. Laura Winters reporting.
The U.S. military said Tuesday that it carried out strikes on Iran following the crash of an Army helicopter near the Strait of Hormuz that President Trump blamed on the Islamic Republic. U.S. Central Command said on social media that the strikes would be a proportional response to unjustified Iranian aggression. Iranian state media reported that explosions were heard on Keshem Island in the Strait of Hormuz. A rowdy Knicks watch party ends with 21 in custody and 5 officers injured.
Police say one Game 3 event in Manhattan turned chaotic. Upset Knicks fans scaled light poles, pelted officers with objects, and ripped out street signs. President Trump's attendance at the game led police to close off a large area outside Madison Square Garden at 34th Street. Instead, about 7,000 people gathered at Bryant Park at 42nd Street. Again, while the party was mostly calm, some fans blocked traffic and refused to disperse. Police arrested 8 people and 13 others were issued criminal court summonses. 5 police officers were injured. Julie Walker, New York.
On Wall Street, a mixed day as the Dow was up by 86 points, but the Nasdaq dropped 250, the S&P lower by 19, oil dropping below $90 a barrel. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Are you headed to Toledo?
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's
Oh,
on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe
You want to get a
quirky,
cocktail
and you may
tonight?
even have type 2 diabetes, dollars of
KC,
term insurance
6:30?
may only cost you
Okay.
about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-2085.
Call Nick Ragone.
Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-2085.
Nick Ragone.
Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-2085 or biglou.com.
Ukraine's President
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
A body found in a burning car. I'm Chris Davis. That body was discovered while firefighters were trying to put the car fire out last night, says the Kern County Sheriff's Office. That fire was at Oswell in Oregon.
Exactly. We were working on stuff, so I didn't see everybody's text messages until right now.
Sorry, the whole YouTube audience did not hear you because of my stupidity, but I
He
apologize.
says he's going downstairs to check on it.
So
I'm happy to repeat it. What part?
How was Jason Kelsey's round? No, we're not going to repeat it.
No.
Can they hear it on when we televise it? Can they hear it on the YouTube?
You mean
like when they go back and view it tonight? Can they?
No, because you just X'd it all out. It was all muted.
I'm having a wonderful day, aren't I? Anyway, all right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. Look to the west tonight. You can see Venus and Jupiter with the naked eye. Do you know that?
I'm so excited. I'm a big solar system planetary.
I am
nerd,
too.
So that is totally cool. So I don't know which way west is. I got to figure that out. But you can see, Jupiter and Venus?
Yes. And then on on the 14th, you'll be able to see Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter.
I love that. You know, it's I watch a lot of videos on YouTube about the size of the solar system and how big it really is. But here's a little tidbit. Like our closest star is Alpha Centauri,
right?
And it's 4.2 light years away. But do you know our sun's gravitational pull, the outer limits of the Oort belt, go a light year away, almost halfway to Alpha Centauri. Our sun's gravitational pull can still be seen beyond the sort of to the outer limits of the Oort belt. It's almost a light year away.
That
our sun still has gravitational influence. Isn't that just enormous?
And that our sun is not the largest star in our galaxy.
Oh, not only by a long shot.
By a long shot.
It's a very average star.
It really is. It really is. And the fact,
but just the distance between that, it takes light a year to travel from the sun to the outer limits of its gravitational pull. You know, by comparison, it takes light 8 minutes to get to us. It takes 4 hours for light to go past Neptune, which is considered the end of our solar system.
Yeah.
And then another year to hit the outer limits of its gravitational influence.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Just the size of it all is crazy.
It really is. I got back in this. In fact, they named the crew for Artemis 2 today. That's what got me reignited into this thing. The Artemis mission was just amazing to me. Absolutely amazing.
I'm with you on that. And I didn't live through the original Apollo, and I wish I had, but I so love space exploration. And even listening to Elon talking about using the moon as a base for Mars and how the Mars would be a nice fixer-upper planet. But the idea that within 500 years, we probably, moon will probably be a giant data center for AI, and that, Mars will be a colony. There's no doubt about it. And, at some point, our entire solar system within 5,000 years will be completely harnessed by humans or AI or whatever. And within probably 1 million years, our entire galaxy.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
I do believe that. I really do.
I 100% believe that.
Do you believe there are aliens amongst us?
I don't. Here's why. Here's my quick theory on that. I think there's only 2 numbers that make sense for complex alien life, not like bacteria, but like human level complexity. There's only 2 numbers that make sense to me. Either the galaxy is teeming with it. I mean, the universe is either teeming with it because there's 100 billion galaxies and each galaxy has 1 trillion stars. So either it's teeming with it, or there's only one. It doesn't make sense if there's 15 or 20 or 30 alien civilizations. It's either teeming with it or we're a fluke accident. And I don't see any evidence that there's alien life out there.
I believe in the former. I think you're absolutely right. I think they're teeming with it. I think they're intelligent enough that we wouldn't know, because some of these sightings now, we've changed. The reason that it's becoming credible is because when we were growing up, it was the same people that saw Bigfoot. It was the farmer in Nebraska. It was the hippie in the outskirts of Upper Washington. But now it's Navy pilots. It's Jimmy Carter who said he saw an alien, or a UFO, I should say. I mean, now it's legitimate folks that are saying, the Navy pilots are saying, I'm not going to call it a UFO, but I saw a blip, and we've seen the video of it, that disappeared in a manner that I can't explain as a Navy pilot.
Yeah, there's that guy Lazar who goes on Joe Rogan's show that tells a tale.
Yeah, I mean,
I know I'm on the other end of that spectrum. If I had a bet, I'd say that there's no complex life in our galaxy except for us. I'm totally a guess. I just think because think about it, the universe is 13 billion years old. We've been around 4.5 billion years, so 1/3 of it. We've had single cell organisms on this planet for 2 billion years. It took 2 billion years to go from eukaryotic life prokaryotic life to eukaryotic life, and then it took another 2 billion years for us to arrive.
Yeah.
So that's a third of the universe's time. In theory, we should be seeing somebody who is a couple billion years ahead of us should have colonized the entire galaxy already, and it hasn't happened.
Well, that's true, I guess. I don't know. Who knows? Well,
who knows? It's all conjecture.
Absolutely. Well, I guess we'll be talking to you next week as we go to Shinnecock. We had Manav Shah sponsor. He's being sponsored by our local casino here, Hard Rock Cafe Casino. And, you know, we're just praying that the kid can make the cut and we can see him on Saturday and Sunday. We're really excited.
I mean, making the cut would be a huge deal.
Yeah,
I mean,
it would be.
If you listen to Rory and Scotty, Shinnecock's going to be a total beast.
Yeah. Well, we're praying for him, and we'll talk.
And by the way, we have the U.S. Amateur coming out to Marion in a few weeks, and then Tiger's son Charlie qualified for the U.S. Juniors, which is right up the street at Saucon Valley. So, which I'm going to go to. So we have a lot of golf this summer in the Philadelphia region. In addition to we just had the PGA and we have my event, but we have the U.S. Amateur and the Junior Amateur.
Where is the Junior Amateur?
That's at Saucon Valley, which is one of the great courses. They held the U.S. Senior Open there in 2022. And Charlie qualified already. Charlie's still trying to qualify for the U.S. Amateur, so he might come to both. But
nice.
And you know, he was caddying for Miles Russell, who qualified for the U.S. Open yesterday.
Oh, really? And the longest day.
Caddy.
The longest day. Yeah. I saw some of that yesterday.
He was part of the longest day, the other longest day. But yeah, so you know, now it's a question of if he's going to show up at Shinnecock and caddy for Miles there. It'd be interesting.
That would be interesting, and it'd be the story of the day, unfortunately.
That unfortunately it would be. That would be the story of the day, that Charlie Woods is caddying and on site. He's so interesting. His swing is so beautiful, and like his trajectory is just so fascinating.
Yeah. Okay. We'll keep an eye on it. All right, Pop. Sorry that I kept you on mute for a little while. You can't even go back on YouTube and listen to our conversation.
I feel like we covered a lot of ground here in 20 minutes.
We did. 10 of it our listeners heard, but that's beside the point. Our listeners heard it, but our YouTubers did not hear it. I apologize. All right, man. We'll talk to you next week. Appreciate you taking the time.
Sounds good, Pop.
All right, we'll see you. Nick Ragoni, as my phone says. Nick Ragoni. And again, I apologize. Two things can be true at the same time. This is one of the best shows I've had. This is one of the worst shows I've had. No phones. I got the mute on. Y'all can't even communicate with my producer to tell that idiot to take the mute off. It's over in about 7 minutes. That's all I can say. Quick timeout. We're coming right back. Wrap this thing up. Tomorrow's a Wednesday, but then Allsteins, owner-operator of Adaptive Networks, will join us. And the ambassador of trade will join us on Thursday. Sheesh. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230. And we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio. News
What a
Talk
day.
96.1
What a freaking day.
and AM 1230. KERN. First Look with Scott Cox. Morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Wednesday edition of the First Look program, we'll talk a little medicine with our friend Dr. Bip Deb. John Cox will join us in studio, I hope, to administer the California News Quiz. And we will have the very latest and state-of-the-art news, traffic, and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
Hey, this is Terry Maxwell. You know, one thing I've never enjoyed.
Oh,
Promo. Whenever you're ready.
3, 2. Look, nobody is more heartbroken than a black kid about to graduate from high school with a 3.7 is going to prison for maybe 10, 15, 20 years. But there's no self-defense in sticking a knife in a kid's chest that should have been a simple teenage fight. There's no self-defense for that. I'm sorry. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Wednesday TRBS. Owner-operators of Adaptive Networks, Jennifer and Ryan Van Alstyne, will join us. We'll follow and preview the Knicks-Spurs Game 4 and the latest on Graham Plattner in Maine. All that and me at 3. CRBS, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, and streaming live at kernradio.com. I'll see you at 3. What a show.
You want to bust out Sangera afterwards?
Yeah.
So much more. Your bathroom renovation financial plan is ready. I found cash you can put aside, and to cover the rest, Albert can get you up to $10,000.
Let's try it. Let's try it.
Can
Let's
you find
try it.
contractors nearby within our budget? Here's a list of contractors. Would you like help requesting a $10,000 loan for your bathroom?
You ready? 3, 2. It's that man again for Sangera Subaru. The world's biggest tournament is here. And the summer, Sangera Subaru is bringing all the excitement home. So they're kicking it off with some incredible offers on new Subarus all month long. And right now, lease a 2026 Outback Premium OVT. That's CVT. Let's do it again. Sorry. Right now, lease a 2026 Outback Premium CVT for $229 a month for 36 months or $5,014 due at signing. Plus, every Subaru comes standard with symmetrical all-wheel drive. So don't miss your chance to drive something new during soccer's biggest event of the summer going on right now. They're saying that it's the new season. Don't I have to say new soccer season? Shouldn't I say new soccer season? I can't hear you. But can you hear me?
Sorry, Rusty just fixed the phone.
The line is the world's biggest tournament is here.
Right.
Do I say soccer tournament?
I would just say the world's biggest tournament.
All right. Hey, guess what? We've got 2 minutes left, and the phones are fixed. Thank you, Rusty, our crack engineer. Phones are fixed, and it's time to go home. Nice job, Rusty. Appreciate you, bro. Rusty Birchfield, everybody.
Probably the best show you've ever had.
Get off my radio
The
show.
most exciting calls today.
Clearly. Did you hear the one with the ambassador? That was great.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you, baby.
No,
I hear you in the hall. I hear you on the phone. All right, that's enough. Literally, that's enough because I got to get out of here. Want to thank Teresa Goldner for joining us. Again, I apologize for the technicalities, my own stupidity, thinking that we had the ambassador today when we actually have him on Thursday. Want to thank Howard Marcus, Chris Kelly from Hard Rock Cafe Casino, and of course, my dear friend Nick Ragone. Tomorrow, Ryan and Jennifer Van Alstyne will preview the Knicks Spurs Game 4 and the latest on Graham Plattner. But in the meantime, for Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's unfortunately really going on. I'll wrap to you tomorrow.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI, Bakersfield.
All right.
What a freaking nightmare. We're going to have like 40 listeners on YouTube.
I went back to look when you turned it off, too, and you turned it off right at the beginning of the 5 o'clock hour. And I was in here with Rusty and JR, so I had no idea you turned it off.
Why did I turn it off?
I think because you were on the phone with Nick.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe you guys were talking about something you didn't want him to hear.
Yeah, that's exactly.
You never turned it back on.
Yeah. Rough day for the kid, boy. Good God almighty. Rough day for the kid. And it's only getting worse.